Ayo. Fanny's pile of shit. Ayo. Ayo. Nah, hold on. Buzzing like a beehive, my next album C5. Her pussy crazy like a feline, that's what I feel like. Fuck a decline, more like a recline. I need some me time, need to decide if this path is right for me.
Rapcast. It's sickly season out here. Josh and I have ailments. It's delayed this podcast multitudes of times.
And I am unemployed.
Which is another form of disease under capitalism.
Whee! You want to pick a
I
card?
am in between jobs right now.
No.
Let's take a bite out of that shit. It's actually cake.
Right now I'm in between houses, in between jobs.
Yeah.
But I do buy.
between,
I bought
genders.
these cool glasses from Spencer's, and I wasn't going to let them go to waste. Forgot to wear them on the Halloween special.
And the one after that as well, I guess.
So now we're doing Flamin' Hot Christmas, a Rapcast special, brought to you by Cheetos.
Also, my for those listening, my ailment was I'm temporarily deaf in this ear. So if you see me like messing around with it a little bit, that's why.
And why did that happen, Josh?
Because I slept on this side too many times, and the earwax built up. So now it's so much earwax.
I sleep on one side like every night. And I've never had that.
I just stopped.
Well, I use Q-tips though.
Yeah, that's but that's the thing is that I went to a walk-in clinic and Canada free healthcare, baby, and they said if you actually used Q-tips, it would have been worse.
Because it pushes it in.
Because it pushes the earwax.
I just don't buy it because like why would
I'm
they
a Q-tips
sell? I don't know.
truther as well. You're not supposed to use them.
But I feel so clogged up if I don't, and I do it, and I feel so much better, and I've never gone deaf because of it. So maybe in the future,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that I go deaf and I can't do this podcast anymore.
Knock on wood.
Damn.
Honestly, the best part about being deaf, not having to listen to anyone's podcast, even if they keep asking you, they keep promoting it on their Instagram pages for their old friends in high school that don't want to actually watch it.
Yeah, it's like, sorry.
Check out our...
shout out my page, Alex.
Shout out Instagram and Twitter and TikTok at Superfinger Inc., all one word. And as we start, I'm Andrew, a.k.a. Young Jizz, to my right.
The Lindor Thief.
Chinaman's own, buddy Alex, and
Chinese soccer, they cut me from the team, and we didn't qualify this year. And I'm not Chinese, so...
Really?
It's a surprise,
Yeah,
I
don't know. And to the left, on camera today, Josh, a.k.a. Jay Pacey, a.k.a. Deaf in one ear. My ailment was just too much drinking.
Too much swag.
Yeah. And I had a little bit of a lingering cold beforehand, and then I... fucked up my immune system by drinking for 10 hours straight, and I had to take
10 hours straight of drinking?
It was like two hangover days. It was unreal.
What are you, 23?
Yes. Not for long. I only have so little time until I'm
I remember those days.
Anymore.
So simple.
Yeah, I went out to Ottawa with the gang and them. Out to Gatineau in the middle of fucking nowhere to see my buddy, Little Deeg. And we started drinking at 2 p.m. Because until midnight.
It was just you drinking because you can't actually stand them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I can't handle being around these people. I gotta drink.
That was cool. We watched the fucking World Cup, which none of us. I didn't give a shit about. A few of my friends actually follow it and are invested. But we made it as an excuse for drinking games and shit, and got blasted at Adams. And then by the time we left Adams, we were like sober. Pretty much, and then we got to Eddie's place and we drank even more, and I think the drinking even more after that that's what really got me. Woke up the next day and I could barely fucking talk. It's brutal. So I might pop a lozenge here and there to this podcast, if need be, if my voice gets too gravelly. So just throwing that out there. If you hear some ASMR of me, my tongue just doing freaky shit. So be prepared. Be prepared for that.
So Brockhampton, like...
Long live, rest in peace.
Let's talk about it. We had this podcast a year and a half ago or something. It was March
2020. It was COVID. It was the summer of COVID, I think, when we were just bored and we were just like all home and we were just like, fuck it, let's just... So it's been about...
No, I mean
2 years.
The time that we...
when we talked about Brockhampton.
When we reviewed Roadrunner. which I rewatched that episode, and it was like I got way too high at the beginning, and I'm like, it was not
some of our earlier ones,
not one of my like sharper episodes, but I still had some good bits, like my Ryan Beatty joke. Shout out, roll the clip.
Remember that?
No.
And they're at a pretty solidified moment in their music careers as a band altogether that it makes sense that they might want to start pursuing other things, but I don't think that they're going to completely be gone. What are you smirking about over there?
I'm just thinking about what Brian Beatty's going to do after the band.
Shut the fuck up, man.
God damn it.
I like one of his solo songs.
I just like how he's the most make-funnable person in the whole band. Because he's the one that really should be in a boy band. The rest of them are rappers.
And he's not actually in the band, technically.
Yeah. But yeah, can Ryan Beatty rap? That's another interesting question that should come out of this. I was just really wondering what would happen to Ryan Beatty if the band broke up. But apparently he's doing okay. So
I suppose.
But the thing is, we kind of went through a bit of a post-mortem on Brockhampton in that episode because we were thinking that this might be the end, but it's always such a roller coaster with Brockhampton. They say something there and they'll do something else.
Yeah. I remember during Saturation 3, they were like the last Brockhampton album. During their peak, they were like, this is the last one. Like, obviously we were naive to think of that even being true, but just it seems like every album could have been their last one. So we were playing it safe.
But now that Brockhampton's been officially over and we don't think it's coming back for like a month or so, it's starting to really set in that like there was a rare moment in time when we had that, but we're just not. It's not going to be like them all performing on stage together and making whole albums together.
There's going to be cross collabs, I'm sure.
The book is closed on Brockhampton, though, and I feel like I have mixed feelings about their last two albums, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
but
do we want to do a kind of deep dive into their discog, or did we already do that during the Roadrunner episode? I don't really remember.
We kind of scrolled through it a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
I think we pretty much, to summarize quickly, the Saturation trilogy was when we first got into Brockhampton.
Probably most people did as well.
3 albums came out in 1 year. We were blown away.
All quality records to this day.
I have like hyper specific memories of all of us at the cottage the last day before heading back, and then we were up in the woods on the cliff in the woods just chilling. And you played Waste for the first, and I heard that for the first time, and I'm like, this. Hold on, what? And you asked, and before that, you asked me to learn how to remake the beat for Lamb.
I want to do a cover of Lamb.
Yeah, and I listened to Star as well, and then once I heard Waste, I'm like, this is the same group. Hold on, okay, this is something.
Mm-hmm. And me and you were at the first Brockhampton tour after Saturation 2. Maybe not the first tour, but the first like kind of popping tour. So we got to see kind of a rare moment to kind of see everyone, including Amir, at a live show. And they'd played Star a bunch of times.
Saturation 2 was
just not even 3 yet. So that's pretty glad we went to that. Even if the show itself was a little bit disappointing because we were up in the stands, but I'm glad we got to see them then, and then Josh and I saw them for after Ginger, I guess?
It was the Ginger tour, I think, yeah. And
then we had tickets to see them after Roadrunner, and then when they announced that the band was ending, they canceled all the tour dates as well. Yeah. So we couldn't see them then, which sucks. But I wasn't expecting when they announced that, like, because they announced that the group was ending and that the tour would be canceled. They didn't announce any more new music, so we were all just kind of like, well, that's it. Kind of a lukewarm ending of just like this. I guess this is their last album, right? Yeah. Then they did the Coachella show, which was like one of their last performances, and then they announced that there was an album dropping later this year.
He said, I remember Kevin specifically saying, I made an album about the group.
Yeah.
And he was actually right.
Yeah. A lot of twists and turns in between there, obviously, with the Amir situation.
Yeah. I am a staunch Iridescence defender, apologist.
Iridescence came out in the wake of the whole controversy over kicking Amir out of the group.
I think it was done in like a few weeks in the Abbey Road
Studios. It has kind of a raw feeling to it.
Yeah, it was done in 10 days in Abbey Road Studios, which is bonkers.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of a little bit bullish on that album. Like,
I think it has high highs.
It's all over the place.
I think it has a lot of high highs, but there are some moments that don't hit for me. But that's kind of most Brockhampton albums, where there's like going to be 2 or 3 songs that are just, aside from maybe the Saturation trilogy
even though
and
Saturation,
Roadrunner.
even though Saturation, nobody, I don't know anybody going out back to the interludes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but those are just Roberto fucking talking, so that's not really. And that makes sense to me more so than some of the songs on Iridescence. But I think it might be a hot take. I think Ginger is probably their weakest. Maybe their weakest album overall. I just don't return, like, it had, No Halo and Sugar are great, and Boy Bye, I guess, and Percy, St. Percy or whatever. But then after that, I don't really
see.
And the low energy of a lot of the songs and stuff, and it didn't seem like they were really all quite clicking. Like, I remember Kevin having a lot of low energy verses. It didn't seem like he wanted to be there, and a few people kind of picked up the pace and had good performances.
Yeah,
but
I used to think that too until I went back and listened to Ginger again recently, and I'm like, damn, there's a lot of there's some good songs.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, to be fair, I haven't gone back and listened to the whole thing fully.
But I do get what you're saying. There are some pretty low energy.
I think like the last just like 4 tracks or whatever. Jilly Departed, another great one. But I think the last kind of ends in a kind of a little snooze fest. But again, it's been so long since I've heard it all the way through. But
yeah, I honestly,
it's not like their discography is perfect, is what we're trying to say.
When you go through the discography, there's a lot more hidden gems in there that you might not have. That might not come to mind right off the bat, but then when you're actually giving it a second,
and there's a lot of songs that aren't accessible necessarily, and then you hear it for the first time, you're like, oh, it's kind of a weird one, and then it doesn't click for you until you hear it multiple times, or until you hear it a year later, or whatever, and you're.
So yeah, then taking us up to Roadrunner came out.
Feature heavy.
That's when they kind of started to expand more. Yeah, A$AP Rocky was on it, and
Ferg
Charlie
and,
Wilson and
Shawn Mendes, I think, was on there as well.
Honestly, with me, I might fall into a little bit more. Like, I'm a little bit more partial to Ginger, and I didn't like Roadrunner as much.
Roadrunner is hard for me to listen to simply because of the subject matter. Like, it's like not an easy listen.
Well, yeah, Joba has a very heavy Joba's contribution to it.
Joba's
but also songs like Bankroll and Don't Shoot Up the Party don't really have to do with the album's theme. Like there's not like every song is talking about this kind of bleak subject matter. Right?
I feel like when you examine Brockhampton's discography with the knowledge about how the group fell apart in mind, you start to see like that there was creative differences with people, but then you kind of start to pick on what, like, okay, I see why maybe this song came out more of a Kevin Abstract idea when there was other ideas that could have been more, or you can notice that someone's kind of absent in one album or another, just being like, oh, they aren't really showing up that much here, I guess, and some of the group members kind of are more notorious for that, but I think the fact that it's like it's this group cohesion, and when the chemistry is really great, a song is amazing, and you don't even really realize who's all on the song. Everything flows into, and I think on this latest album of TM, at least, I think there's a lot of really great moments of chemistry where you think,
I agree.
Wow, this is something that is unique to Brockhampton that like is kind of hard to replicate outside of this 100%. Context of them all being in a band together.
100%.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the traditional rap sense, it's more solo rappers that have features that will come in and try to play around in that world or whatever, but this is much more like I don't know, it's more seamlessly transitions from one voice to another.
Seem like they're on the same page for a lot of the
but then that also makes the songs where they miss not that, like, it's kind of hard to take the good with the good, like, from a song that you like didn't turn out the way that you
what do you mean? Because it's like you're struggling to figure out why it didn't hit, or just like...
Well, I'm just saying, like, the group cohesion doesn't work, and then it makes it sound like bad to you. Where I just don't really want to return to it because like I feel like the ideas don't mix.
I mean that's the thing is like a group with 7 vocalists and then however many other people behind the scenes. Like it's a miracle that we got any good music out of this. Like it's crazy how like we've got so much great content out of them over the years, because like that's something that would almost be impossible. I mean, obviously there's big rap groups in the past that have done that as well, but just like doing the kind of stuff they do and like the experimental work that they do and all the different genres that they kind of fuse together, like it's crazy that they have pulled off a lot of it, and been successful in their own right.
When we get by the time we get into like 5 or 6 albums into this, that's when you start to. That's when, like, for example, like I never really took to the song "Don't Shoot the Party" that much, because it felt like too much of we're trying to do the Brockhampton thing, like production wise and content wise. It seemed like they were
almost
kind of doing a parody of themselves in a way, or becoming too much like, this is our one note, then we're just going to hit it.
Right.
And that's kind of the interesting thing, is like how all these artists like progress and grow in different directions, and how do you make that into one album that makes sense?
Yeah, because if someone's not feeling it, but they're still obviously a part of the group, how do you make that kind of work, and how do you get them to contribute? And it's obviously it's more notable in certain projects and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting in terms of like, now that they're over, and after, you know, the album "The Family" by Brockhampton, Kevin Abstract, and you got some revelations of some of the group dynamics that were kind of going on, and the things that kind of put them in separate directions at the end of it all. Like it's a little bit more revealing, or you can pick up on certain things that, like, oh, this, you think of something in the past album, you're just like, oh, this might be a catalyst as to why things didn't work out, or this is like evidence to that, I guess.
To give it more of a specific example, like, and this will transition into the actual album review, I found that "The Family" Brockhampton by Brockhampton was, you know, it was all Kevin Abstract.
Yeah.
And it was very sort of like a self-confessional about what he did or failed to do as the leader of the band.
Yeah.
And like, I actually didn't like it as much as a piece of music. I thought it was interesting to hear as a Brockhampton fan, because I like to get a view inside the breakup of a band and see what happened.
It's very brutally honest, you know.
Yeah. But as a piece of music, I didn't really like it really that much at all.
Yeah.
I liked their second album they put out, which was actually a Brockhampton group project.
Yeah,
TM.
I feel like we have similar opinions on that, in terms of just, I guess we'll start with this is the start of the album reviews, The Family and TM. We can get overall thoughts out of for starting off with The Family. That's the one that dropped first. Out of the way. Like, obviously I'm a big fan of Kevin's solo work. I really loved Arizona Baby. I still go back to like pretty much all the songs on there, and the American Boyfriend has some highlights for sure. A little bit messy and kind of juvenile, but a lot of it still works. But I think The Family, I mean, it's just so many songs, and they're so short, and a lot of them seem like half-baked ideas, and he's clearly just kind of venting, maybe a little bit drunk on some of them too, so it doesn't make for like the cleanest, most cohesive, easy to listen to body of work, you know. And I'm not even like, people were like mad disappointed when they figured out that it was just a Kevin album, even before or even after like we figured out that there was another album coming out. I was excited because I'm like, I love Kevin Abstract, I'm down to hear whatever he has to say on here, you know. But I still kind of left feeling a little bit disappointed.
He was hinting at it from the very beginning, like I said before, like at the end of the Coachella thing, he was like, I made an album about the group.
Yeah, he said like he was in New York and he just played an album to them. People were like really, I saw online, people were really trying to cape for this shit and be like, oh no, it's just a cover, it's just a. Because even when fucking The Big Pussy, the first single of this album, came out, he says on the thing, what was it? It was like I made a whole album without the group being on this shit or whatever, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And people were still being like, no, the group's on here, right, guys? I mean, like, come on, it's kind of obvious. Like after the second single came out, I'm like, it's not going to be what you guys are thinking in terms of a whole big rock.
Josh, I want to know your initial thoughts on the Family. Just the Family. This is before you heard TM.
It was like, I was disappointed that it was only Kevin, because I'm like, I wanted to hear more, but then before, like, I was like, well, as soon as I heard that another album was coming with the whole group on it, I'm like, oh, I can take it for what it is now, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I get, like, the group thing, I'm able to, like, okay, let's see.
Well, because as soon as it got put out, they announced a second album coming
exactly.
out.
I'm like, okay, let me listen to this for what it is now.
Yeah.
And I personally thought the production was fantastic.
I mean, the production carries, and
I love the beats on it.
I'm in the belief that
I'm actually not into the production. Really,
it's like Kanye inspired though, like crazy though, like a lot of college dropout graduation type production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just in my mind, it was like a watered down kind of Donda-esque, but kind of watered down. But anyway, let's
I don't get the
more overall
comparisons, but
yeah,
I think if this was a full Brockhampton album and like, you know, in a different world where it's Kevin kind of ranting about the album and how they broke up, and also features members about giving their perspective and shit over this production, I think it could have been one of their best albums. But since it's all just Kevin, it does kind of weaken it a little bit, and just the fact that there's only one song that's over like 3 minutes or whatever on this whole thing, so it was hard for me to grasp certain songs and ideas and kind of differentiate them between each other because they're so short, and they're, even if there's something that I really enjoy, it's too short for me to really latch onto because it's
there's a couple tracks that I thought you could extract out of it that I would
there are some highlights on here for sure, but
for the most part
a lot of them kind of just fade in the background for me.
Fade in and out. Like, the thing that made me respect this album a lot is Kevin's, just like you said, brutal honesty. Like he bears everything on this, and one thing that I will always respect in any form of art is when an artist is being just completely honest.
Yeah, I mean,
honesty is the key to art,
and especially in hip hop as well, keeping it real and shit. We've discussed before, but I'm in agreement with that. And yeah, I appreciate for what it is in terms of just like it being just a complete open book and him giving you every little detail about how the band broke up. I appreciate it for that, but as a body of work, as a piece of music, is it something that I'm going to want to go back to a lot? Not necessarily. But we can go track by track if you guys like, or at least highlight some of the ones that we wanted to.
Yeah, I've written down. I only wrote down songs that I've kept on my phone and stuff.
Right.
So. Here's my thing about the production. Like, I found, like, for example, the first song, like with the sped up kind of soul sample thing, it gave me very like cheap YouTube beat vibes. Really? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I can see that.
And the fact that also there's a couple other songs on the same album that kind of have samey sounding beats. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, this is like a stereotypical kind of Chance the Rapper-y kind of happy song that's like a sort of like nostalgic / happy song in the Chance-y kind of vein. And like I just found that like just the style and the sound I just found to be kind of dry on the album in a way. But I see what you're saying about like there's something to be said about the confessional like style of the album, and that's what kind of gives me the Donda-esque thing. Is it's like the way that Kanye is really passionate and he's living it all out on the ground and not caring about what he says about people he works with and stuff like that. And I kind of
the album or what he's talking about in the news cycle right now.
No, like
he's leaving it all out there.
Yeah, well, he's definitely
very honest.
He's leaving something out there.
Oh, he's leaving it out.
Yeah, it's out there.
There's things being left out.
It's out there, baby.
Yes, it is out there.
Hitler is back and better than ever. No,
Jesus.
Episode title. Hitler's back. No, but just the way that like it's sort of Kevin Abstract's sort of ego or / narcissism echoes that of Kanye West. In a way, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah, and also at least he's able to kind of reflect and be like, he knows he's let some people down. He's willing to take some of this blame about how the group broke up and stuff, and he's willing to admit that it's a toxic relationship.
But basically, one of the big things that I want to get into is that he, you know, basically he calls up Amir and wants to try to reconcile things with him, and I kind of have a feeling that Dom or some of the other members of the group are like, fuck that, I don't even want to talk to you anymore because he pretty much says verbatim on some of these there's a lot of drama. This is probably the most like drama-filled episode talking about gossipy type episode. That's one of the main qualities of this, this is the last time we can talk about this type of gossip because it's over now, it doesn't matter.
That's why I'm overall glad, like even if it's not a super super strong body of work to me, like I'm glad we got it overall just because it's a cool insight to have, and if we didn't get this we would be wondering the entire time why exactly they broke up. At least now we're not left wondering.
He's like saying, now that things are over, let's just lay it all out on the table.
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing left, so might as well. You know.
Which, by the way, like I don't know these people. I'm not in this thing, but like, don't you want to reconcile and forgive people? Like,
and obviously,
I'm kind of on Kevin's side, but then again, I also find that like, if Kevin was in charge of all the musical decisions, the music would have been much worse overall, because I'm just not as into his view of how things are supposed to be. Right. I feel like probably the other members in the group probably could have had more input, but I mean, he was in a tough position, being the sort of de facto
these
leader.
2 albums had to be made due to their RCA obligations from their contract. There was no way they could have just not put out anything.
Yeah.
Even if they put out TM, they would have had to put out something else. Yeah. And I understand them not wanting to do 2 albums of kind of like throwaways, best of the worst type of like Lucy tracks, you know.
Yeah, I think that I'm so glad to hear Kevin finally admit that he regrets signing to a major label, and like
he's been saying that.
He knew that he knew now that it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of fans have been saying. Like, I remember day one, they announced it's them signing to RCA, and people were like, "Oh man, this is gonna change shit. This is not gonna be a good thing."
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh no, don't worry, it's fine." But it's like, now it's like, yes, finally, at least you can admit.
Yeah. Well, he says that specifically on the song "Gold Teeth" about how like. Did we sign for too many albums? Probably. Too many merch deals? You know, like he goes through like, this was way too much workload on a group, but that. Even without the Mirror situation, I still think it would have been too much. Where they pretty much signed on for like 3 albums a year type thing, that saturation workload, where that was never sustainable. Mm-hmm. I understand them wanting to capitalize on the hype and push themselves forward, and obviously it worked for them well the one time. They want to see if they can strike gold again, but that was never too realistic to me.
Bottle.
Yeah, that not to take us out of the review again, but like that kind of concept I find interesting of like. Marketing of Brockhampton, and could it have been done in a smarter way?
Who knows? They could have gotten other approaches for deals from different labels where it was they kind of realized what they had going, and they were like, let's kind of slow the tempo.
Because that's another interesting thing that you get off this album actually is when he's talking about I didn't want to do TikTok bangers, and I didn't want to do this or that, or like it is kind of a marketing conundrum of how do you, because Brockhampton. It was originally popular mostly with sort of internet-y, kind of arty, like millennial kids, but also kind of boom bap rap heads, r/hip-hop people, Reddit. But then they had so many musical influences and did a lot of R&B/pop, other genres, and they maybe tried to going on Jimmy Fallon and trying to kind of cultivate more of like a mainstream fan base that maybe didn't stick around for them, or I don't know. It's Maximum. Yeah, this is what it's all about, man. Yeah. So
it's the boy band aspect. You know what I mean? Like
it's a tough crossroads that they have. They could have gone either way.
Yeah, they're trying to keep it real while also being a boy band, which is
and wanting to go number one and wanting to sell records or wanting to be popular.
Because if they were just a straight up rap group without as many of the pop crossover stuff, I think they probably would have lasted longer because it would have just been popular with. Dudes like us, and not necessarily like casting a wider net, and maybe the less fame would have, This is just we're talking about counterfactuals here, but like, it is interesting because they came out of an interesting time in music and kind of occupied this very specific lane that might not really exist anymore. But
but I do respect the fact that they went for like. It showed that they can make good pop tunes as well. You know what I mean? Like, there's like I like some of their pop tunes. Too.
Yeah, Sugar was a huge hit.
Like Sugar, not just Sugar, but like just the pop aesthetic as well.
Yeah, they had other songs.
Like,
like Man on the Moon is a pop song, and that's a great. Yeah, that's a great.
And
one.
Like, I think that I can appreciate the fact that they can do both things really well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think they did. A lot of people online, though,
I can see what you're saying for sure.
It's more about marketing, I guess, than styles, because since the start they were always genres shifting, and that's always been their appeal in a way. Yeah. But maybe it's just a tough thing to market that.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the loss of Amir, like the one like kind of always gangster rapper kind of guy in the group. there was a lot of people after when he got kicked out were saying, "Oh, they've gone soft, they've gone pop." Where on Iridescence is there pop music? It's super experimental. It's super like San Marcos is probably the closest you get.
Yeah,
but like there was no big glorified hit off that.
Then you get Joe Vert, which is just like there's no pop in Joe Vert.
Yeah,
like that shit's like grimy as hell, and I love it.
The fan base is something that we could talk about later on as well, the toxicity of that. But in terms of this review, I want to get a few songs off here.
Let's get to
Take It Back, I think, is a pretty strong start, actually.
Take It Back's great.
Again, with the Kanye kind of influence production. I understand what Alex is saying about how it's kind of paint by the numbers almost, but I still do appreciate hearing it in this day and age, especially because am I going to be listening to any new Kanye anytime soon? Maybe not.
Probably not, no.
RZA. I like the whole idea of, you know, his people, like his mom saying, "Why don't you keep the band together?" and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a full circle thing of how he's kind of like, because he had a pretty rocky relationship with his mom at the start of this whole thing about calling her out for because she didn't support his sexuality and stuff like that, and the fact that now he's talking to her and he's going to her for advice and stuff. It's a good full circle moment, but I don't think the song is too strong.
Yeah, I mean,
no, but as far as that's one of the few like lyrical themes that is developed in like an interesting way on this album is that his reconciliation with his mom and trying to move forward with that whole situation, like,
and the whole kind of idea of family, of how it's the people that it's part of your actual family, like, and his mom, and it's important to kind of make amends there, but also it's about the family you make along the way.
But also the problems that exist in his real family versus the family of the band.
Family,
So some praise is due there.
And Gold Teeth, he also mentions how don't ask me if the crew is still talking until we see each other hardly. So it seems like even though like they had a whole like final show and stuff, and you know, they had some music video. They had I guess the one music video that came out of them all together. Like it seemed like that New Teeth song, I think it's called. That video, it seemed like if you're watching it without knowing the context, it seemed like there's no issues at all, and they're having a good time. And like New Shoes, yes, not New Teeth. I'm getting confused with Gold Teeth.
Right.
It seems like on the surface that there isn't any issues, right?
Great video. They're having a great old time, a grand old time.
And kind of like a family reunion type of vibe with all the games they're playing. I got as well.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. I like the whole bar about as well on Gold Teeth here saying while y'all bumping all these BH knockoffs. Because you can say that Brockhampton didn't really have much influence on the culture, but there have been a lot of other rap groups, kind of like underground Reddit kind of rap groups that have come up because kind of a Brockhampton that have a similar style.
Also,
99 Neighbors is one. There's one popping off now.
There's an entire subreddit called Brockhampton that it's just basically people saying like, look, we want to like do what Brockhampton did and make, you know, a band from the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, was that a slight at us? We're a Brockhampton knockoff.
We were actually doing this shit way before Brockhampton.
We started making
videos in like 2010.
I mean, videos, music-wise, we started around 2017, I think the same year that they did, or they started even before that. But anyway, I think that might be a slight test. Please don't call the Cops.
Superfinger did it first.
Please don't call the Cops album of the year.
Also, Gold Teeth is just hard as fuck. Like the beat.
Gold Teeth, I'm not a huge fan of it, but just because it's more of like a newer kind of like almost a Yay, Jesus is King type of production to me, but it's not too strong either to me.
Well,
I think Big Pussy's the strongest
Jesus
song
is
on
King.
here.
That's like off his meds, Yay.
Yeah, not Jesus King, but like production-wise, it's like a newer
I guess with
era.
the sort of voices.
And
like
a minimalistic kind of...
I see what you're saying there, yeah, but Big Pussy...
I think that's the strongest song on here, pretty much.
Rapping.
I like the jazz intro. The production is super unique and like bombastic and hard. And it was a good choice as a single if you were to have any single on here.
The off the wall production on that one just didn't really do it for me.
Really, I'm a huge fan of this. And the whole like Denzel Curry sounding kind of voice he puts on at the end, like it's crazy. I think it's super hard energy track.
I like his flows on it at least.
And I like the beat switch as well.
All that.
I like this one as well.
I like this one. Yeah,
it reminds me of an OG Brockhampton kind of like summary, introspective kind of like back in the old day nostalgic type song. Yeah. Again, it's not like perfect, and you know the singing isn't the best, but it's a solid one in terms of context of the album to me.
I like it.
That one is like half with me. Like a lot of these are just like maybe there's one part of it that I like, but
Yeah.
it's only like a 1 minute song.
Yeah,
anyway,
here you
so-
started getting some expose into the group here. Now we hate each other just to hang out. He says he talked about how he didn't show up to the Brit Awards and because he was focusing on his solo music. And I looked up because I didn't remember the whole Brit Awards thing. I guess it was around the Iridescence time. And there's pictures of them, all of them on the red carpet, except for Kevin, and I didn't even realize, like, oh shit, he
This
just
is what I mean
wasn't
about
around,
Kanye,
like-
the way he talks about events in his own life.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and when you saw me at that award show and you didn't talk to me, or, you know, like...
Yeah. No, I agree.
talking
It's a
about
little
this
bit unhinged, and I guess because he's
personal
fucking-
drama that's kind of inscrutable to anybody who's not inside.
And he talks about his kind of abuse problems on here, or substance abuse, rather, about how he's smoking and drinking a bunch, and you could hear it on this album a lot, how he's just kind of, like, unhinged.
Yeah.
So I get where the energy comes from. And it also, like, how he talked about how he wasn't really around for the Iridescence era, and looking back at it, I think he really only is on, like, 6 or 7 songs, and even on Ginger, like, he was on a bunch of the songs, but, like, he kind of sounded like a lot of it was phoned in. Like, that was when his kind of flow was, like, super kind of sleepy, which I think at the time people thought was a artistic choice, but now in retrospect, that's something we talked about before, of like, maybe that could be a thing of how he just kind of checked out at that point.
But then again, his verse on Wait is on that one, on Iridescence.
You know, he has strong performances on here.
is
It's just like
pretty-
he's just not really...
Overall,
Yeah, he's not.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of his quantity. Back from the Road, I don't really like this
I
one.
don't like this one.
Yawn.
Basements, it's an interesting kind of concept about how he talks about the parasocial relationships and how they affect him.
I thought
the
that
beat's
song-
a little too kind of strange.
I thought that
for
song
me.
was really amateur.
To me, it was like there was good parts and bad parts. I really like the back to the fire, back to the like that part's really
Yeah.
funny, kind of cheeky to me.
I really
But also
don't.
I don't-
You don't know me. You don't know me. All this, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a
you
little
ain't
bit.
my family.
It's a little half baked for
It's-
sure.
Also,
I-
you acting nosy. I don't like.
To me,
that.
the strongest part is just I just think it's interesting in terms of the context of just how he's talking about how, like, fuck the fans, man, y'all don't actually know me type shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
it makes sense for this album, but it's not a strong
I don't
one.
understand why they made a music video for that one.
Yeah, I mean,
And now the music video is twice as long as the actual song.
yeah, I understand how the music video is like a monster creeping up on him, how, like, the fans are kind of like a monster in a sense, trying to
Yeah.
cancel him type of thing.
Yeah, I love my fans, but they'd kill me if they could. But
Yeah.
which is on a different.
It just wasn't executed that well.
Yeah, no,
Like
I
when
agree.
you talk about it in the abstract, you're like, okay, yeah, there's some ideas, but
Again,
like,
yeah, that's the problem with
they
this
weren't
album. Is that
organized in a way that's interesting.
exactly
at all.
is that there there's a good thing, there's a few good things about almost all of these tracks, but are they put together in a good way? Not necessarily a lot of them.
I actually strangely kind of like the South Side song.
I
Just
don't
because,
really like
just
this
because it was so weird that I kind of got into like the
production
sort
is
of
cool, but-
baby keenness of it, like
Yeah.
that
I
something
did get
weirdless,
that, but-
weird in a way that I actually kind of fuck
I
with.
did
Yeah.
get that. I wasn't really a fan of it, but I do get the baby.
It's
Keem.
not a bad one, but not a
But
highlight
it's
to me.
low quality. It's like almost
Yeah.
intentionally low quality in a way that's
Yeah.
like almost like, all right, I can actually like the sort of basement-y vibe of that one. Anyway,
Good Time. I do enjoy this one to an extent. I kind of like the Igor kind of sounding, refrain he has on the chorus.
yeah, I
and
was getting
stuff.
Tyler
What was
vibes
that?
on it
What
as
was
well.
that?
Good Time. I don't. There's so many songs on here that are so short. I don't exactly remember.
Forever's not because it's forever.
Oh yeah. Forever's shorter than a song.
Oh yeah. I'm not really a fan of that one.
And there's a kind of finality to that track in terms of like how he turned the friendships and their pain into art, and how it wasn't good for their band overall. Was this the one where at the very end he says like? He was like, we were on a Zoom call, and I was like, start filming this shit.
Yeah.
He was like, that's a toxic relationship, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I mean, he's
get
admitting
that.
it. He's,
I
you
get
know.
that. Yeah.
A lot of the spoken parts from him, I'm just like, eye roll. Like, get back to the song.
To me, it's just like, it's drunk rambling, and it's just him wanting to get his shit off. And that's like where the Kanye shit kind of comes in, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on a Zoom call and somebody tried to record it. Oh my god! Like,
No, he was saying
He was saying he
I know,
wanted to
it just
record
sounds
that
like he's being quite dramatic about like.
shit.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, that Zoom call could have been about like some devastating shit for that. It could have been like a huge Zoom call. You know, it could have been a life changing fucking.
I know.
moment,
It's
right?
just
Like,
the way that it's communicated. It
Yeah.
sounds like, oh, big fucking deal. Like,
Yeah.
But
Fair.
but yeah, that's just his character that,
Yeah.
that comes through. You're either there for it or you're not.
Yeah, I like the song 37.
Me too.
37.
I like in terms of just like how he wants to take it back to the old shit. Again, kind of another nostalgia. I think the songs that work on here are the ones where he's reminiscing about the past, and it's in a more like nostalgic way. And some of the beats are like lending themselves to that as well.
Yeah, it has kind of a wistful vibe to it. I actually, it's like a slowed down. It's one of the slowed down loop beats that I actually think fits nicely on this project. But that's
I wasn't crazy about the hook.
The hook, I'm not crazy about. Some of the singing,
and I like how that's really where he gets into the fact that he like met up with Amir.
Yes, is here to my brothers who I love. I know I failed you. Looked up with Amir to see what he's been up to.
Yeah. I think like as much as I'm very much not on Amir's side, and I've been vocal about that before. I get the idea of like it's like even though it's a personal thing for him. I get the universality. That's not really a word, but the universalness of it. You have somebody in your life who is not a good influence on you. It's like but you want to keep them in your life anyway for the sake of like, even though it might not be a good idea. Well, I mean, you just want to keep them in your life for the sake of familiarity more so than anything.
Well, I don't think they had a bad relationship, Kevin and Amir, because they were friends since like high school before the music shit. Like they were. That's why it was so difficult for Kevin, because that's a day one homie right there.
That's why I kind of empathize with his situation, because now you're looking around, you're rich and famous, but you had to cut one of your main friends on the way up.
But it's also finding out somebody that you like. So one of your main friends is like a bad person, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not like he was abusing him, and like obviously it sucks what Amir did, but it's not like their friendship was toxic, you know?
It's not like he's irredeemable, like you can never like be friends with him. But
to me,
in the context of this group, it just wasn't gonna work out.
Yeah, no matter what, if Amir stayed, Dom and Matt would have left. You know what I mean? Like shit would have not have been.
I don't know, but to the same extent, like the whole kind of thing about how he talks to Amir, Dom probably isn't fucking with him anymore. Doesn't really want to be a part of this shit, which is a valid theory. It's not really a thing that's confirmed. And Matt obviously has bars in the past about like fuck that shit. And he was on the song
Junkie,
the abuse shit.
Yeah, don't.
And he was on the Dearly Departed song. He didn't really reference the Amir kind of shit, but it seems like him and Kevin are still tight. And if you were to kind of pick and choose who we think would have been down to stay in the group, I think Matt would have been one of them. And I think like him and Kevin would still probably make music together and shit, regardless of the Amir situation. Whereas I don't know if Dom and Kevin are linking up anytime soon. That's just what I personally think, but I don't know that for a fact.
This is based on the fact that it was Dom who was somehow connected to
Amir setting up one of his friends.
Some kind of criminal thing that happened with regarding
Amir set up one of Dom's friends to be robbed.
Yeah, so that's why he feels more strongly about it than the other members.
And I get it. Like if somebody like robbed one of you guys, I would not fuck with them.
And also, we're all day one homies. If one of y'all sexually abused a chick, I wouldn't want to be friends with you either. Like that's the thing.
That's the thing too. Yeah.
I mean, it obviously depends on the context because we don't know exactly what happened with these women. But I mean, I don't really want to get into the details.
Yeah, I mean, the details of that I will just remain a mystery to me because like I don't really care to learn like that much about what's going on.
And also, it's kind of
Amir's not really out there like putting out music that much anyway, so it's not like a big ethical dilemma that I have to deal with. Like, Anyway, let's move on. Boy band isn't. That's another one where it's kind of a sped up soul sample that I thought was a little bit sounded like new Chance the Rapper. Like
I guess.
Kind of vibe.
To me, this is where the album starts to like pick up. Like the second half, to me, I enjoy much more than the first.
There are some strong ones at the end. I don't know. This one could have been pretty good if there was more to it again, but it's just so.
You at least
fleshed out.
Josh, I'm thinking maybe you were with me on Any Way You Want Me was pretty good.
I think
really
this one is bad. I think this was a stinker. I didn't really fuck with it at all.
I like this one a lot.
I like the vulnerability and the kind of
the singing. I like the.
I just don't think his singing was very good.
I like the melody on this. I think it's really.
I think there was a better singer.
I think this was. I think it was. I think. Like this, out of all the melodies that he sung, this was a better vocal performance than.
So, Andrew, when you heard the part where he's like, "Man, I'm always into the toxic relationships," Brockhampton, boom, and then
I don't know. I think it's kind of corny.
And
that's what I like about it, though. It is kind of corny, but it's kind of.
I just felt that at least that one had a vibe,
but also the vibe didn't fit with the album. Any Way You Want Me is kind of like a lovey song. What does this have to do with the breakup?
Well, it's
of
about
the band?
trying to change to make the relationship work, and the parallels of that with
I
the
guess.
being
I don't know.
in the
I think it's
group
kind of
as
a
well.
stretch. Someone on Genius was like, "Oh, it's about a mirror, and oh, you can have me any way you want me." I'm like, no,
No, it's not like a gay fantasy about.
I don't think that's it at all either. I just think it's a bit of a stretch to. If you're gonna put it thematically in here, and I just the sound of it, I didn't really. I think it was a miss to me.
To me, I really liked it.
I think maybe it just gave me the impression of more of like the type of music I would actually like to hear from Kevin Abstract.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
I
mean?
guess. I just think he's done this. Listening because I've listened to his older stuff a lot. I just think he's done songs like this better in the past too.
Yeah, that's a fair statement because I honestly don't re-listen to. I probably haven't heard Arizona Baby as much as you have, but I generally had good feelings on it. But moving on,
The Family. This one's big.
This one I really like,
and this one is a good one as well. I think the production is great.
ooh, I'm gonna have to disagree on this one.
The production again,
it's a little
or
too demo-y for me?
The production wise, or just overall?
Mainly just the sound of it.
Okay.
I wish I could cut off the little talking parts where he's
makes sense.
Yeah,
like he's talking about.
get it.
Oh man, this is different. Like my family from Texas.
Yeah.
You know, it's always so different. That's the one where I find his singing to be a little cringy. But it's like we're coming up with complete opposite views on this one, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Me and Josh were together on that song.
And now we're separated.
Now it's you two versus me.
But that's kind of cool though. That's what
It's the creative differences in this group are going to tear this podcast apart.
We're also ending Rapcast Super Finger ending 2022.
Drama.
The band is over. And I'm gonna make a whole album about it.
Josh robbed my friend.
I robbed Slowburn.
Set him up.
What you did to that man. Shout out Slowburn.
There's a lot of lyrical content to get into here, at the very least. He mentions, God, bring me a different band. This is where he's like, it seems like he's fucking off his rocker, drunk in the studio, just be like, man, fuck these guys, like, kind of shit. He mentions how, as the Czechs grew, it became harder to leave. Everybody got an ego now. Imagine being me. Competition started off so healthy. So one day I looked up and I was like, damn, you're almost better than me. How kind of showing how it turned toxic after a while. Again, with the money, how it came into play. How it was like hard to justify breaking things up when they all were getting the bag, going on tour and shit. But also kind of his ego getting in the way at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I just found that the lyricism on that was a little weak, but there was an idea there. There was a concept, but
This is a prime example for me. This is a prime example of being completely honest is good art. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I don't necessarily think that just being honest.
yeah,
makes
well,
it
yeah.
good.
I mean, that's what I mean. Is that like honesty?
But it at least makes it
is first
interesting
and
enough
foremost
to at
should
least
be
talk
the most
about on a
important thing.
podcast. He also says here, I don't feel guilty for from cutting your verse from this beat. I don't feel guilty for heat you caught from my tweets, dead projects I teased for my lack of empathy. Kind of how...
is he talking about a specific person there?
No, he's just talking about.
I think in
the
general...
Or just anybody?
just the rest of the group. You just like it's like don't tweet this because you got to represent us. You know, like as a group.
And how he
We gotta
also
speak.
kept teasing dropping Puppy, and how I was like, man, I really want to drop this shit for y'all, and like kind of teasing like little snippets from the Puppy album, the one with the mirror before everything went down. And I'm sure some people in the group were being like, bro, don't even play with that shit, man. Like that, we're not doing it. Like cut it out. Like I'm sure there was some
The band
hard
didn't
feelings
really
there.
have a public relations
It
representative.
didn't really have a PR.
You kind of just heard whatever you heard, and
exactly.
it was all basically off of Kevin's Twitter.
Yeah. And I do on this one enjoy, I mean, you actually get another member on here, Bareface, with the great outro.
Bareface with the. I mean, it's always the killer vocal.
Well appreciated, at least.
Yes, very much.
To break
Yeah,
things up.
I liked that just to be a different guy.
When I heard his vocals, I'm like, yes, there's the boy.
Prayer's an interesting one to follow up with, just because like the song "The Family" was kind of him hating on everyone, and then the prayer is being like, "Man, I love these guys so much, I don't want it to end." Type shit. It's like, man, it's a little bit bipolar in what he's saying.
That's the drunken, like the alcoholic kind of thing that I actually really appreciated. That's like him just being like, "Fuck you guys," and then him just being like, "Man, I love these dudes so much, man. I can't." You know, like I don't know. I like Prayer because it's also kind of like emotional.
That being said, I don't really like this song as a song. I mean, it's interesting in terms of the album, but as a piece of music,
my one
really
note is too much love.
Too much.
Too much love.
Just saying you're in love is not.
Yeah, it's a little bit one note. I don't really have much to say there.
Yeah, a lot of it is like I'm trying to put myself in the ears of somebody just listening to this album who doesn't know everything that there is to know about Brockhampton already and what they would be taking out of this, and they would be going, huh? Like,
yeah. But I mean, also, I have to listen to it.
No, I mean,
in a way that relates to me, and obviously for this podcast about knowing everything and just wanting to get as much out of it as I possibly can.
You don't want your review to be completely like useless to somebody who isn't already initiated into all
for sure
the fan base.
I took a lot of notes on this shit, but it doesn't mean that I love it.
Yeah, My American Life sounds like shit to me.
Man, I'm torn because this.
I love this one.
Man,
this is my favorite song off the album.
Really, I didn't like it at first at all, and then I started liking it, and then I didn't like it, and then because it reminds me of like the OG Kevin Abstract shit, where it's super rough. It's like rock almost inspired. And but just lyrical wise, like he's just saying how he has nothing to say anymore. I'm like, well, then why even have the song?
There was a bit of a concept there.
A little loose,
he's talking about new shoes, new apartment, My American Life. Like, I have nothing and nobody. That's
the thing.
I got some money, and that's all there is. And I don't actually have anything to say.
I just think it's super demo-y.
To me, he is saying.
I agree.
To me, he is saying something by having nothing to say. He kind of is saying something.
I just felt that concept was not really earned.
You know
what I mean? There's an idea there, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's me and Alex versus Josh.
Yeah,
this is wild.
That's cool. I like this. I love the indie bedroom artist kind of vibes.
I like the vibe. I just think it's kind of.
I love the voice. Like the voice.
I just think the guitar is just weak, and it's just not. It's just demo.
The voice effect. The voice effect and the lyrics combined to remind me a lot of Saturation One era and like early Brockhampton vibes. Like, because if you go back to Saturation One, there are a lot of like stuff where Kevin's singing about this same kind of shit. Like he was singing about like, man, like I miss my boyfriend and stuff like that. Like, man, this kind of sucks. I'm really
like moving into a new place or whatever,
and moving into a new place with these people, and like I'm really unsure of myself.
I appreciate the sentiment and
you're making an argument for it.
Yeah, and the stuff behind it. I just think musically, it's one of the weaker ones on here. Like, it just doesn't sound good to me.
I think it sounds like the fact that it's so rough around the edges adds to its character to me. It has a personality.
I see what you're saying, and I've flip-flopped between this song in terms of me appreciating it and not. And right now I'm sitting out where I'm like, I'm not going to want to listen to this.
To me, I love the imperfections on it. It's better for this to have it this way than to be super polished to where it doesn't actually have a personality. But to me, the fact that like so many of these songs have the imperfection vibe, that like you don't even need this one to be. To me, I just don't even need it. I don't know. On an album that already has so many songs that are a little bit rough around the edges, to have one that's like super rough, I don't know if it's.
I find it's very interesting how we all had the same general impressions of it, but we all fall on different songs that we actually think demonstrate our like. Our nitpicks that we have,
Brockhampton, and how there's so much for everyone in terms of their whole discography, and you can like this song and hate this one at the same time. Like
I'm almost like intellectually, I can understand. Yeah, like I get what.
No, I understand
Josh is saying.
Yeah,
but like given all this, you could make a whole big argument about why this is like a very honest and. You could use a lot of adjectives and stuff, but I still just don't want to listen to this album. Like in my brain, like when I put it on, like I want to skip to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not entertaining for me at the end of the day. So I can't give it a good review, even if
you
intellectually I understand
some stuff behind it. And I appreciate a lot of the lyricism and the honesty and stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean it translates to good music. That's kind of my overall point. But we still have 2 songs to get to. And 2 of the better
Josh's
songs
opinion is still valid,
yes.
okay?
Thank you.
Well, all of our opinions are valid.
Yeah.
But especially Josh's. He doesn't usually get to get his say on this.
Because he's handicapped trying to suck up to him. 2 ending songs here I think are really good.
Yeah, same.
I think it's, again, good production. Again, talks about how he turned his friendship to a business. And at the very end, he was just like, I'm getting tired of all the drama. I'm just going to call a mirror type shit. He's like, man, fuck y'all. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Like, it's over type of thing. It's a finality to it.
Yeah.
It has a credits roll feel to it that I appreciate, kind of. But
yeah, and I also really appreciate, I see that a little bit in like a warning sign of like, don't turn everything that you have into content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes things are just made to be people. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to be a person and exist. And not turn everything into content.
I also want to announce here, we're going to do a As They Sleep segment of the next podcast where we're going to film each other sleeping and then play that for a few hours straight. I think it's going to be pretty interesting content. Last song called Brockhampton. I think a lot of people were, because it's like, they saw on the track list, it's like a 4-minute song, and everyone's like, it's a Kevin solo album, but Brockhampton's going to be on this song because it's called Brockhampton. No, it's just Kevin.
It's very,
I think it was, there was a pretty cute little, audio file or whatever of like them. They're all making the drive-through, and like Amir wants to get like a Big Mac or whatever.
I think this was post. I think this was.
I just thought I heard his voice.
Maybe I don't know.
So like maybe it was from the early days, but
because I remember seeing I remember clicking on their live one time, and they were at a drive-through like on foot trying to order shit or whatever. And I think that was like post Amir shit, but who's to say? Maybe if you're aware, let us know in the comments. I think this one's a very strong closer in terms of it's very melancholic and reflective and moody,
very emotional.
And this it's where the emotional kind of honesty works, in my opinion. And again, there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. Talks about he misses the guys already. He talks about how the Roadrunner sessions and how it was a whole healing moment for everyone, and he was trying to get better. And obviously, Jobo was going through a lot of tough times, and he kind of goes through a retrospective of the last few years and how everything kind of came to a head and how everything kind of ended. So I appreciate it for that.
There was a line that he took out of Buzzcut or something
about being canceled.
Yeah, because there was a whole fucking thing like post Amir where like there was a few TikToks and Twitter threads about how like Kevin's a pedophile, Matt's an abuser. Like they were trying to list like everyone as something, and it was just all bullshit. And people were running with it.
It was fun. It was funny that how like they even the people admitted there was like a screenshot leak or something like that of the people who like originally made all these allegations, saying, let's try to make a bunch of fake allegations against them, see what catches on.
Yeah, and
it's just crazy.
And it sucks at the fact that it obviously affected at least Kevin. Like it sucks that obviously you could kind of see his disdain for the fan base.
Yeah, like it's like these people aren't real. Let's like throw them to the wolves for our entertainment.
And we were kind of alluding to before how like them blowing up and signing the deal might have been worse for them overall in terms of creating this uber fan base, which I guess they already kind of had accumulated before, but like probably took that to the next level. There's another kind of line here talking about how they wanted to balance real music and also kind of be pop stars, but the group succumbed to kind of toxic music industry culture and shit like that. Again, he says it right here. I wish I knew the day we signed that it would change shit. And he also mentions how in the era 2020. They were doing technical difficulties, which is, I don't know if you remember, Alex, when they dropped like a few 6 or 7 like songs to their YouTube or whatever. They're all like gone off shit now, but they're like a bunch of other shit has leaked.
Actually, you have them all downloaded.
Yeah, I have a bunch downloaded too. And how they had a bunch of like Twitch streams, and they were just doing kind of more experimental.
He was saying like that's the last time he felt like it was really
working, because I guess there was less pressure to do shit, and they took it back to basics, and they were just like, let's just make music. Because we have nothing else to do, and we're bored and probably a little light on cash right now, so let's just fuck around and make whatever music we want and do all these samples and not really put it out for anyone and just try shit. And it mentions here, he discusses how a fight between him and Japari changed their relationship, which was interesting. Just trying to figure out what that could have been about, because Jabari only recently became a vocalist, so maybe it was kind of about that. Maybe Kevin was like no, and he was like I want to, and he's like no, I don't. Obviously there's no way we'll ever know.
We could only speculate, you know?
Another piece to the puzzle
of the drama.
Yeah, it is interesting thinking. I mean, because there was that one-off kind of thing. Well, like for one thing, they were making their show before, right, the Brockhampton like show, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was
And
a
then-
Kevin Abstract show on Vice that was like loosely also a Brockhampton kind of startup.
And then there was briefly a thing where they made sort of a
behind the band parody,
behind the
tour.
music thing where it was
Yeah,
like
that was pretty funny.
I like that.
Well,
that's where they were kind
That
of
series was
playing into the joke of the band like
being toxic and
being toxic and stuff like that.
but also playing on kind of probably real.
But those jokes were all based in reality,
Yeah.
and it's interesting to think about Kevin Abstract as this tragic figure who's at the sort of sees himself at the helm of this thing that's bound to not really work out just because there's too much.
Too many
complications.
cooks in the
There's
kitchen
the fame, the personal issues,
the record deal, the music industry,
the
being
industry,
shit, and,
everything is all compounding.
all
a lot of pressure.
And it's like-
all wanted to go different directions.
Yeah, you wonder if things could have went down a different pathway.
yeah.
I think eventually it was going to get to this point eventually because like there's too many people all wanting to do different things. Eventually something was going to...
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised it's lasted this long. Like, it's been 5 years since Saturation.
Yeah.
And I feel like at least one of the members of Brockhampton is going to just completely stop making music forever, and we'll just be like, well, we lost them.
Yeah.
And like they might be someone who's pretty good. Like I imagine Joba. Like I want him to keep making music, but for some reason I just don't see.
No, I see Joba because Joba was the one that tweeted at the end of all this shit, being like, it was kind of came as a surprise to me. I wanted the band to still be together, and I'm really sad that it's ending. Like he was one to be really vocal and be like, I wish we could still
I find
do
that
this
he
shit.
was a real like pinch hitter for the group in that like his emotional depth brought like a stability to the whole group,
and his interesting style in terms of his singing
and
shit.
style wise he fit into like he could fill in the gap on certain songs that were sort of half-baked Kevin ideas that like okay, Joba turned this into a real song.
That's kind of what I was alluding to, like how the family had some good ideas in it, but if it had some of these other members kind of putting in their 2 cents in here, it could have been a lot stronger.
And they didn't even need to like do that much. They could have just dropped one but it comes to mind again the thing about the label wanted 35 minutes of music, so we did this, and so
just to quickly finish up with the song Brockhampton, a few more things to say. At the end, he shouts out kind of each member and their strengths and how he wishes them well and he thinks they're going to do well. But to me, he kind of just shouts them out in pretty basic ass ways. He was like, Merlin, you have energy. Dom, you're the lyricist. Like that's kind of what everyone would say.
I know he went with like the like crowdsourced YouTube comment. Things.
Like it didn't seem like too. Obviously, he didn't want to go on a whole spiel about each of them, but like it's
John.
Kind of
you always stood in the background. HK.
Yeah, it kind of seemed a little bit surface level.
HK,
but,
you have neat hair.
Yeah.
Who else?
Kiko. What happened to Kiko? I don't know. He's around here somewhere.
Also, he's not in the group, but ASAP Rocky. I really enjoyed his contribution to those 2 songs.
Overall, the
shout
family,
out So Gone So Flex at the very end of the album.
So Flexy.
Can we finally just admit that So Gone So Flexy's verse on that one song sucked?
He had a few verses. I don't know which one.
Off of Roadrunner.
He had a few songs
Windows.
on Roadrunner. I didn't mind his verse on Roadrunners. I didn't like his verse on Count on Me. I thought that was.
He was on that too.
He was like the opening verse. Maybe that was. He was on one. He was on a few songs.
No, I'm pretty sure he was only on Windows.
No, he was on. I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was on one other one at least. Let us know in the comments.
Or let's just find out ourselves.
I don't feel like looking it up.
I'm not saying right now. I'm saying later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Let's move on.
Well, is there any other overall kind of thoughts? I'm just looking at my shit here about this album.
Yeah. It's filled with a lot of raw emotion and resentment.
Yeah.
But
it also
leaves
feels
a bad
like
taste overall.
I think it also feels like a contract obligation, and that's not a compliment necessarily.
Yeah.
Josh, what time? What are we sitting at here?
Oh,
an hour 8. Okay, we should keep going. We should.
Yeah, this might be a bit of a long episode, but we don't have
too much to talk about after the Brockhampton shit.
Yeah,
so.
it's probably be like 2 hours.
TM. Way better, way more listenable.
I think it's much stronger, obviously.
When I heard this, I was like, oh.
This is Brockhampton,
everything that I liked about Brockhampton.
Yeah. That being said, there are a few songs that didn't hit, but, I mean, that's kind of...
For me, at first, it didn't... there was, I like maybe half of it. Now I'm up to like there's maybe only one or two songs that
to me there's like 2 or 3 songs that don't really hit for me.
It's a really strong album overall.
Yeah, I think it's I don't think it's as good as, obviously Saturation or even Iridescence. I think it might be stronger than Ginger, but that's the thing is like I'm curious as to why maybe you think it's a strong one, just because I know you're not the biggest fan of Roadrunner, and I think during the podcast you mentioned how it was kind of all over the place thematically, whereas an album like this, TM, it doesn't really have much of a theme to it. But I guess that's kind of what but I mean, Saturation Trilogy didn't have much of a theme to it either, so
it's the vibe, it's the Matt Champion masterminded experience of the album.
And I think Matt Champion was a stand-up member of this album as well.
Yeah, and thematically it doesn't hit you over the head with its themes, but
I think stylistically a lot of the songs match together in a weird kind of like techno, new age, electronic type of
synth pop.
Yeah, synthwave. I wrote down a lot here. Good for a night drive. Just because it's like a very kind of spacey.
The thing is with this one,
kind of production,
I felt like
that does kind of make it kind of come together in a weird way.
The reason why this one made me feel bittersweet about how Brockhampton.
I was getting a bit emotional when I listened to the first time,
because I was thinking, wow, this is like a bit of a production progression into stepping into a new thing and sticking to one sound for a whole album
that we're never going to see really come to fruition.
Parts where I was getting vibes of like Post Malone and like Travis Scott even on certain tracks, and like I was like, okay, so these guys are starting to like step into being influenced by other contemporary stuff, and like there was even on this one of the songs almost had more of an alt rock vibe to it. Almost sounded like a USS song or like something you would hear next to like Cage the Elephant or whatnot. Yeah. I was thinking like this is so much more interesting progression, and they managed to wrangle all the boys together, and none of them really did anything that was like way off the beaten path, and they still got to all express themselves. But it didn't feel like they were being like stuck to a concept too hard either. And the lyrics and the themes were just relatable to anybody, not just someone who you don't have to know anything about Brockhampton to just enjoy.
And it's strange that the album came out so well, knowing that there are like 4 or 5 songs on here that were just like Lucy's back from the technical difficulty days or whatever, but some of them are like new ones.
Okay, I would like to know which ones of them are Lucy's.
I'm pretty sure I have most of them written down where it's like this is an old one. Okay, we'll start out with FMG, Fuck My Gang.
One more thing. I've realized now, like second time I listened to this is copying our SF tape format. It's showing that SF did it first, of bangers on the first half, sad boy hours on the second half.
I didn't even peep that.
Our idea, which we stole from Slow Tie.
No, that was before Slow Tie.
Yeah, right.
Slow Tie stole out from us first, and now Brockhampton's stealing it. Shout out SF tape. Go for it.
Yeah, Brockhampton stole it from Slow Tie, who stole it from SF.
Yes.
It all gets traced back to us.
Yeah.
We are the Genesis!
Good.
And I got all my shit from Phil Collins.
God damn it, not that Genesis!
Fuck My Gang. It starts off with
very strong
gay sex verse.
Yes,
to get it popping.
Brockhampton does trap, I wrote.
I suppose in terms of the beat,
in terms of the high, in terms of the crazy hi-hat.
The beat was zany. I love that shit.
Yeah, the crazy hi-hat.
Yeah, I think it's a different direction for them, but it's also very Brockhampton-y in terms of the zaniness.
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about it, but
I think it's a great start.
I think the mixing of the beat was just kind of. I feel like it could have been better, but everybody.
That's something that you would notice as a producer, but I didn't really catch.
Everybody's performances was great. Yeah. I just it was just too many hi hats, man. I just couldn't handle all the hi hats.
I love it, man.
They're all super strong on here. Dom has a few great bars of 40 acres and a mule on my neck, studio gallery over my wrists.
Everybody got bars on this one. It's crazy.
Matt's got the Tommy John bar. The way she's throwing it back, you think she got some Tommy Johns.
What's Tommy John's?
It's like a surgery that pitchers get to fix their...
so
they can throw fast.
Yes. Like the whole green...
so he's talking about a girl throwing it back on... It's like... Matt always has like the sex bars you have to think about that
Yeah.
might be a little bit like, you know,
Yeah.
you went there.
Yeah.
Matt's verse is like super fire, but I don't even understand like a lot of the lyrics. Even I looked at the lyrics and he said something about a Bible box or something.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck he's saying.
I like his bar, Green Lamborghini looked like Bulbasaur and his dad.
Yeah, Pokemon, let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go. So anything you have got to catch them all or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna do a new segment of one of our most beloved games, Trash or Pass. You guys have to decide if it's a trash lyric, or that's not trash or pass. That's
It's
both
trash
bad
or fire.
things. Trash or fire, I suppose. Matt Champion says on the song FMG Brockhampton 2022. She from Idaho. Her friends call her Tater Thought.
Fire.
Trash.
Okay, we're split. As a tiebreaker, I'm gonna say I can't decide. It's a little bit of both. I don't know. It's kind of fire. It's kind of cringe, but it's I don't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Tater Thought is.
I love what
know,
Matt did on that.
But I think overall, I think it's a great. Yeah.
Animal,
Great verse.
earwormy track. This one kind of gave me.
I originally had a star next to this one, and then when I was listening to it again to review it, I erased it because I'm like, it's not as strong as some of the other ones. But I like Kevin's hook game on here. It kind of shows, kind of gets back to the OG kind of how the sticky kind of earwormy hooks that he used to have on the old on some of the older shit. First track of the many here that kind of have that kind of euphoric, weird kind of production that. Kind of stylistically
I love the part where he says,
together.
"I just need something
that'll make me feel."
It's almost talking about like I just need to listen to some music that will like he's almost talking about the music that's being played. Like this is some shit that
just being
has some
super
real
meta with it.
real vibes to it.
Also, I wasn't crazy about the first half. When the beat switches in the second half.
Yeah,
I completely changed my view of the song. Like, wow, it's like that beat switch on the second half.
Yeah, because who's on here? It's Kevin, Matt.
I love that.
Kevin, Matt, and Jabari, or is Jabari on the next one? I don't remember.
Jabari's on the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could have maybe used some more members, but to flesh it out a little bit more. But I think it's solid.
This next track, Listerine, is the one that I don't actually like too much.
Same.
Man, this one I enjoy. Not as I don't have a star next to it, but I think it's catchy enough for me to re-listen to it. Jabari, I'm still not really sold on as a vocalist, but I do kind of fuck with the Kevin Abstract just sounding like Travis Scott, like straight up on the hook. Like it's a little, it's a little bit annoying, but like
to me, it's
I don't know,
annoying.
I kind of like it.
It's the way it's annoying.
And I think it's a classic Dom verse here as well.
Yeah,
not a super strong one, but
just the kiss it out.
Not a bad one.
To me,
I don't like it.
Annoying.
That's fair.
I don't like it.
But I like that they were at least went for a Travis Scotty sounding track. Like I wouldn't have pictured that, and I like them, jumping into that sound. I felt like that was an experiment that probably yielded better results later on in the album.
Yeah.
New shoes.
Speaking of classic Brockhampton, this is like completely from the
they
beat,
needed
from
one
the
more,
verses to
one
the
more just like fun
video.
track.
Yeah, exactly.
To me,
and the music video.
I remember the first when I first heard this, I'm like, my first thought was, where was this energy the whole time since Saturation? Like, this is exactly what everybody's been asking for. This is the kind of energy that everybody wanted.
You've got
there were
sprinkles
some fun
of it,
tracks.
obviously. Yeah, you've got sprinkles of it on Ginger and
that's
Roadrunner.
what I mean. But like people like this is quintessential Saturation energy that people have been dying for. The most Saturation thing, I think, since that time.
That's a good argument. I
probably.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
This is where Jabari starts to step into his own.
I do enjoy his chorus here.
I've always been a little bit of
crazy
a I've been a bit of a Jabari hater just because like I didn't really understand what his appeal was.
Yeah. To me, like his
but he has a great hook there.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know, like the vocal transformer thing, the sound of it just sounds really grating to me. Like
Interesting.
I'm not crazy about it. Everybody else is great. I loved everybody else's verse.
Like Matt Champion is a standout on here. His flow, but everyone kills it. Merlin loved the energy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Even when he just says when he kind of reiterates part of the chorus. When I first heard that, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, man! I got so excited.
Yeah, when he says "Don't play yourself," that's a suicidal sport.
Yeah. It's a crime that he's only on 2 of the fucking songs on here.
Wait,
Jesus Christ.
Is that it for him?
He's on this one. He's on Keep It Southern.
Damn, bro.
And this one, obviously, you can kind of tell that it's it was made kind of after the kind of idea that they're ending, because the chorus is kind of about like how just like everything's ending but we're all still tight kind of thing, like
like the gang is still going to be here forever in a sense, but
and Merlin referencing how the contract from hell and type shit, shit like that. I mean, never sold his soul might be kind of a reference to how Kevin mentions on one of the songs on The Family how Merlin goes up to him after the Sugar video and he says, "Did you sell your soul to the devil, bro?" Because there's a lot of satanic fucking imagery in that video, apparently. I don't really remember it very much.
The Sugar video?
Yeah.
That video was just like...
There was 2 videos. That was the second video, because fans were like, "What the fuck is this shit?" There was another weird one of some alien shit, and just like... We can play later, because I also don't
That's
remember
one of my favorite
much.
music videos, because it's so crazy off the wall.
I don't remember, like, at all. I'll have to rewatch it.
It's so good. I love it.
Anyway, huge shoes standout here. New shoes.
Keep it southern.
Another highlight for me.
I like it. I like it a lot.
This is one that was around during the technical difficulty sessions, because I remember listening to a version of this song that had like a Matt verse or something on it too, and like maybe one. I think Joba had like a contribution or something. I think it's fire. It's super infectious.
I really like it. Yeah.
I would have loved to have another member on it. Just because it's a little bit short-winded. But I think Merlin has a great verse on it, a lot of Bible imagery. And just the fact that we only have 2 fucking Merlin verses on here is like, well, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah,
from the guy.
I think that's another one where like Kevin's perspective and his lyrical concepts come through a little bit with this kind of thing about like turning his sexuality and his like lifestyle into like something that I'm selling this as a as a spectacle in its own right.
Yeah,
and like what it means to be from the South and like to be out in public,
which is kind of a classic kind of, that's like a lyric wise, like that's kind of a lot of, they talked about that a lot during their old days, talking about being from the South and being Texas boys and shit like that. So kind of give me nostalgic vibes as well, some of their earlier shit.
He says he fucks his thugs, so
yes, I mean
if he fucks his gang, he fucks his thugs. I mean,
what was I gonna say?
Speaking of gay, wanting to kiss men on the next track here.
One of my favorite Ryan Beatty tracks.
Man, this is a banger. This is a unexpected dance, fucking groovy ass.
Fucking
like I get lost to this song, man. It's great.
I didn't even think I would like this one at first.
Well, the singing is a little rough at the start. Kevin's inflections are a little bit like, ooh, this auto-tune is it not the right key or something? Like I can't quite figure it out, but it's a little bit kind of squeaky.
That's kind of how the track was supposed to start, though, because it's supposed to start a little shy and a little like.
But then Ryan Beatty. I didn't even bag that it was Ryan Beatty until I was reading The Genius. I'm like, oh, I'm glad we got one fucking Ryan Beatty shit on here, man. Like, let's go.
For the real Beatty.
Great chorus. This was also apparently a technical difficulties track, so they've been kind of working on this. They've had this sound kind of in the back burner for a while.
I actually heard Ryan Beatty's going to be joining the Backstreet Boys after this.
Shit! So. I also forgot Joba was a member until he showed up on this fucking track. There's no Joba shit until we get to here, but he's on like the rest of this album pretty solidly. He just a little refrain here, but
this is another one where Matt's kind of the glue on this whole album. You're right. In a way.
Well, because he did executive produce this one, and he directed the video of New Shoes as well.
But even I love his singing on this. His like sort of it's sort of a verse. It's sort of singing.
Yeah.
Speaking of music videos, like the music video for this one got me emotional. Like just like
them dancing around
during the old days, having fun, all that shit. And I was like,
they're just a bunch of cute guys just having a good old time.
Just cute guys having fun.
Yeah.
Are we all just cute guys having fun?
Speak for yourself. I'm pretty fucking gross.
Actually, same.
My girlfriend the other day asked me if I see myself as cute, and I was like, that's narcissistic. I would never say that. But you know what?
You're a narcissist, bro.
It's not like I'm looking at myself in the mirror and say like, oh.
You have to look at yourself as ugly all the time, otherwise you're a narcissist.
I know. Like, what is that? That's male. This is
You
male.
can't love yourself as a guy.
It's like dogs and babies are cute. Like male adults are,
It's like that. It was
hot,
like that.
or I don't know, something else.
I was watching a Seinfeld clip the other day, today. Actually, it was like Elaine was like, "You don't find other men attractive?" It was like Jerry's like, "No, I find them repulsive and unappealing."
Yeah.
The gayest thing he ever said.
Yeah. He said a lot of gay things. Speaking of Matt, absolutely killing it. Better Things, man. I've had to play this. I've played this one a lot. It makes you think, because, you know, you get songs in the past, like, on Rental, where he has some great choruses and melodic stuff, and I'm like, yeah, Kevin's a great vocalist and has some great choruses, but Matt could have been... He still can be huge with this shit. He has a great singing voice and a great ear for melody, and I think it's super well done.
I'll say it. The last like 5 tracks like are all just like perfect for me. Like, I have very few like negative things to say about the back end of this album. Like,
very, very
I was enjoying
strong.
it start to finish.
Fantastic.
I like the kind of Texas twanginess to there's a little kind of guitar refrain or something like it, very subtly in the. It's a very minimalistic production, but I appreciate that little kind of nostalgic kind of sounding. I think guitar riff there. I love Joba's outro on here.
Another one where it's a double meaning of the, you know, finding better things, you know, like finding a new relationship, but it's, you know, the Brockhampton theme as well.
It's goosebumps, this one, man. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Crucify Me is
great one.
Musical sort of breakdown.
Yeah, well, especially at the end there when everything kind of gets crazy.
The beautiful piano.
I like the drums a lot as well.
Live, having some live drums in
like
there.
it's a stripped down production there, which you don't get to see as much of. I would say probably in the saturation days or the early days of Brockhampton, the production is like, there's a lot of bells and whistles and...
One Ginger and Iridescence, there were some that were more minimalist. I guess like maybe parts of it, maybe not whole beats. There was some more.
They didn't quite figure out how to be minimalistic in a good way, but like this... This gives me like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers vibes almost to a degree.
Kevin Abstract has a good, like, kind of underplayed, kind of like sleepy kind of verse on here. And he mentions that his drinking and stuff, which kind of leads me to believe this one is also probably a newer one. Joba kills it on this.
Joba's never afraid to he's like that shockingly earnest guy who's like extremely nice. But he's just like not afraid to like he words it in quite a like striking way of like crucify me, brutalize me, like you know, he's not light with his word choice at all. Like, you know, he makes his point and he doesn't like shy away from it. And
gives me bottom vibes. He likes being taken advantage of sexually.
Yeah, oh man.
Duct Tape.
I liked it.
I don't really like. This one's a little weak to me. I don't. It just really didn't really do it for me.
Oh, I love this one.
I don't know why.
This one and the next one are probably my favorites.
Really, I don't know. I just can't get into this one. There's just nothing that stands out to me.
To me, it's just like the really moody, like almost moody vibes, like the really trip hop kind of drums.
Yeah.
Ironically,
I like Jabari's verse probably the most that I hear. Kind of, he gets really honest about his relationship with his mom and stuff. But like, I just don't think there's enough.
That's my favorite Jabari contribution. I think this whole time was on that song.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but he killed it.
I just don't have much to say about it.
That was the one that had the alt rock vibes to me. That could almost sound like it could, you know, sounds like 21 Pilots or you know.
Yeah, and also like Joba's.
I appreciate the sound.
Joba's verse at the end is downright terrifying. It's like he's talking about like having somebody duct tape in the backseat of his car or some shit like that.
It didn't really fit to me, the vibe of it. I don't know. I just
that was like
a lower
most
point.
Most of the other instruments
point
die away, and like
I like the hook of
he's just leaving it there.
The kids don't got nothing to talk about anymore. Thing.
I like that as well.
You know, could be talking directly to the Brockhampton fan base, but also it's society in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Breakdown of social life and stuff.
One of the weaker ones on here to me, but still not a bad cut. Always something great. Love it.
Always is another one.
Great Kevin chorus, great Joba verse. I have it down. It's a vibe. I've underlined that.
Another gorgeous beat.
Yeah. Probably a newer one as well to hear, kind of talking about goodbye to all the troubled nights, all the struggles and shit, and talking about how reach out, kind of like how he wants the guys to reach out to him more, maybe a call out to the guys.
Yeah,
being
that was a great collaboration on that one. Like they really got into that pocket nicely. I love Joba's. That was one of the first like verses on this album that I started to get stuck in my mind. Is I ascend. Gone with the wind again.
Just great cadence and great, very moody, and very strong lyrically.
His like his lyrical content is like he manages to express his emotions in a way that doesn't seem. It's like artistic-y, but not too, I don't know.
And we were talking about a little bit earlier about how, like, you want Joba to be making solo music, and you're thinking that it might not happen. But he also tweeted, like, I think it was maybe last year, earlier this year, he was being, or I think it was earlier this year, he was like, new music, like next year type of thing. So like I think he wants to. I think we'll see it at some point. And he's one of the guys that, because he kind of tweeted out about how like he didn't really see why the group had to end the way it did. I could see him and Kevin working together. I could see him and Matt working together. I could see him and Dom. I could see him kind of being all around the kind of keeping the Brockhampton spirit alive to an extent, potentially. But we'll see.
He should have been the leader. No, it's because they had him in the room mixing the whole.
Yeah.
What was his job? He was mastering the whole thing.
He was
mixing,
mastering the whole shebang.
So he was kind of sequestered into his own room.
Yeah.
Like,
at least for saturation, he had to do it in like one weekend or whatever.
That's what makes his perspective interesting, and so through some of his lyrics, like he was expressing this whole like, we had that show on Viceland. I was barely in it.
Yeah.
Because I was always, most of the time I'm hitting.
Yeah.
Like he's just like smoking cigarettes all the time, and like he's in the group but sort of cast off
or he's seen it a different way. He has a different role than some of these other guys who, like Dom or whatever, or Merlin, who just have to lay down a verse almost. They don't necessarily get as much say into how everything's fucking sounding necessarily.
Yeah, but he was an essential member to the group. Now that you we have the foresight to say that.
Last song, Goodbye. I think it's a solid ending to the album. It's a little bit underwhelming as like an overall last Brockhampton song, just because it's only Joba and Matt. And it's not like the strongest one on here to me as well, but I think it works for what it's trying to do. Yeah. It's a good like pop kind of esque sounding kind of beat, reflecting on the end and everything.
I liked it.
Pretty lyrical.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think like nothing like the best ending songs on albums for me are when I hear it and I'm like, nothing could follow that song. There's nothing. There's no other song that could come after that song, and that is the quintessential version of that. I just wish it was longer with more members.
I think it could have used more members, and the singing like wasn't like the strongest to me.
I thought it was
so I didn't give it a star, but I think it's a solid ending to the album.
There was a oh, that's what it is from. The Goodbye Horses sample.
Yes, from a dude from some guy that passed away earlier this year. I don't remember the guy's name.
Q Lazarus? Yeah,
something like that.
I thought it was from something else, but maybe I'll have to re-listen to that song. But like, I feel like I pulled that sample in my head, but I didn't know which one. Like, I heard the phrase "Goodbye Horses" somewhere.
Right.
I don't know where it was, but I heard that on this track, and I thought it was a good, like, subtle sample usage. Yeah, it's a bittersweet song that kind of makes you think, "Wow, it was all a dream." Like, you know?
I guess, true.
But you kind of have to like Matt's singing and his sort of emotional palette as sort of a basis for the whole album.
Right.
Like, I think that I wanted to see like a Joba executive produced album or something like that, you know, or like
as much as it's like it's fuck labels and like you don't want to give them any more music and shit and how like they're done with it. Like it would have been kind of cool to see because they have so much music in the vault just to be like, here's a 20 song best of the rest type fucking album, you know, like just to see what they can come up with. More of like a mixtape esque thing, but I mean, there's no way we'll get that at this point. Overall, yeah, I think it's super, super strong. I think it's still kind of it still has some of the problems that some of the other Brockhampton albums has in terms of just like not including or heavily including some members and heavily not including other members. Like there was only 2 Merlin verses on here. There was only 4 Dom verses. There was no Bareface at all, which was like what? Like I think he's the one that's like the one that's like super tapped out of all this shit.
My thought is that he's probably working on a solo album because he mentioned it on when they released The Family that he made all the beats for.
Yes.
He said I'll see you guys next year or something like that.
Yeah, but he also mentioned how he's getting rid of the Bareface moniker.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, I could when you're talking about like there can be some people that you think are just gonna drop off the face of the earth. I think Bareface might be, and that's why
I think he's gonna release one album and then
Well, I think that's why it's so tragic.
Which is
is that
so sad because he's such a talented.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think that's where the tragic lies. Is that like it's he's so good and you want to see a full length album, but I just think he's so elusive and he's so low key and he wasn't involved at all in this. I think I don't know if he is going to.
I hope to be proven wrong, but
yeah.
He's gonna go back to Scotland and be like working in a fucking
they
factory.
Yeah.
Like,
they did a.
I don't even know if he's from Scotland or some
I
other
think
place.
he's from
Irish?
Northern Ireland.
Oh.
They had a 3-episode kind of like, not podcast but radio show kind of thing where they went through each of like the kind of trilogies that they have here, or like they went through like the first episode. They talked about the Saturation trilogy and stuff, and they played some of their best songs or their favorite songs and moments and talked about it. And Merlin was
on the amp.
Yeah, it was some app or whatever, and at the very end of the third one, or like somewhere in the third one, they were talking about like what, you know, the direction some of them are going to go in or whatever, and Merlin surprisingly mentioned how like, yeah, he's kind of like, he's going to go back to school, he's not really going to focus on music anymore, which is kind of surprising just in terms of like, he's been the only solo guy actually consistently putting out music the past few years, with some of the singles he's been dropping, and he says he's he wants to get into like the reptile trade or something. Like, he's been doing it on the side for a little bit.
He's gonna
during the summers, and I'm like,
he's selling lizard eggs on the black market.
Selling lizards in fucking Louisiana. Like, I would love to see Merlin at a pop-up fucking shop.
Crocodile dealer.
Yeah. He's a fucking weirdo, man, but you gotta love him.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think that was another trouble of like creative differences, is that like Merlin is almost on a different, sometimes on a bit of a different planet than everybody else. So it's like,
and I think what I gathered from the radio shows is that like he didn't talk much or whatever. So it seemed like he maybe was one of the one that was checked out. Dom, I think, was probably one of the ones that was checked out, just in terms of at least maybe not checked out, because obviously he has some great performances on here, but he's maybe not. He has some issues with Kevin or whatever. But I think Joba and Matt and Kevin might still continue to work together. And Bareface, I think, will work with Kevin, obviously, because he's worked heavily on the family. And I think Ramil's going to work with all, because I think Ramil had some credits on the family as well. So I think it's going to be exciting to see how all of them pan out. And like Ramil and HK and some of the producers, it's going to be really interesting to see what they can come up with. 'Cause I think Ramil was on the Cal Uchis Isolation album. He had something on there, and maybe there was some other one he was featured on. But
yeah, he's a talented producer.
Like, it's going to be interesting to see what production wise, because I think they're super talented and super off the wall. It'll be cool to see who they collaborate with. But I mean, overall, Brockhampton, I'm going to look back on them fondly. They were around for very pivotal years of my life, from when I was fucking 18 to 23. That's like a huge learning curve.
Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah, that's a huge
and I find that it is very interesting, speaking of the sort of the way that like the history of rap music and how, Kanye and the music that came out kind of in the early 2010s era inspired a generation of new rappers. And Brockhampton was an example of one where they all met on a Kanye forum, and they clearly were influenced by his music, but a lot of other music that was also going around the same scene.
Yeah.
And how they came out at a time when Kanye was still, like, I mean, he wore this was like 2016 or 17 or whatever. He wore the Trump hat or whatever.
But he was still making very solid music.
But he was still beloved. And then now you see his complete train wreck,
downward spiral,
and that it happens to coincide with the fact that at the same time this
Brockhampton's
the people who are influenced by his music are also kind of moving on into their own light too.
I think Brockhampton's very much a product of their time, in terms of the times of the internet and collaboration and just like the whole DIY kind of thing that's been pretty popular nowadays.
But also like
also the cancel culture aspect of everything, and how that kind of got played out, and how it's kind of very like, we're gonna think back to like 2017 to 2020 and be like, oh yeah, Brockhampton is very much aligns with that kind of era in terms of what was
Yeah,
going
like
on
the way
culturally.
people dressed or whatever. It will be like a nostalgic thing in the
Yeah.
15
Now
years.
that I'm thinking about it, I was like 19, 20, like it was like I was like 19, 20. So like, and now I'm 26, and so I'm like, that was like my whole 20s.
Yeah, very formative
Shit,
years for all of
crazy.
us. So it's and how they influenced us,
early
and you know,
20s,
you could talk about how like they didn't have any influence or whatever. I think that, again, like there's a lot of like DIY.
Yeah.
Kind of do-it-yourself influence there in terms of like not even influence, just like motivation of just like you can do it too.
Dude,
and they've influenced us obviously because we're a fucking band that
whenever I need
not necessarily want to fucking sign an RCA contract 3 albums a year, but we
Well, we would do it smart.
yeah.
Okay?
Well, they influenced us artistically, and
Yeah.
they influenced a lot of people, obviously. And I think music video wise, they're super,
100%.
super underrated in that sense. And the music
100%.
videos are. I think people are gonna look back on them and be like, "That was some great art there."
Yeah,
Especially.
like whenever you need any sort of motivation, just go watch the Saturation documentary that they did if you can find it. I watch it every once in a while, and it's just it always fuels me with some, lights a fire under my ass. If like I want to make some beats, or I want to write some lyrics or whatever. I just want to do something creative after watching it.
Yeah.
Even just like the first like half hour or something like that. Like that is just that is just peak. Like that is everything that I wanted.
Yeah.
That I want to be as an artist, is just to be in a house full of creative people all doing creative shit together.
Yeah, and
like,
obviously
that's the dream.
they look back on it fondly, but also probably during the time it was probably fucking hell. Like in terms of like they weren't eating much, weren't getting much sleep, they were always grinding and shit. Obviously it worked out for them, and they probably look back on it again very fondly. But obviously they put a lot of hard work into that shit.
It's interesting thinking about where do they fit in the history of like kind of like underground rap or internet
or even rap groups
kind of based music, and it kind of remains to be seen exactly like where do they fit into the sort of artists influencing new generations.
Yeah.
I think we have yet to see their impact and their influence. Like the people who are influenced by Brockhampton are still coming up.
Well, they're out there like us.
I'm out here. Anyway, we're gonna play a Brockhampton.
We
game
are out
now.
here. Yes, I'm gonna get a fucking water. You want to explain some of the rules here?
Yeah, please.
Okay, we are
Actually, I
playing.
want to get a drink too.
All right. I'll just
Go
check.
ahead. It's all you, bud.
You can cut my last whole.
Yo, you're the Kevin of the podcast right now. You're the only one left. Me and Josh stopped trying, bro.
Dude, I feel like I'm the only one trying here.
It's all you, buddy boy.
I'm visibly sweating here. I'm trying my ass off. Oh god, and I pissed myself.
Terrible. On your
At least it's
corduroy
only water.
pants.
On my corduroy.
I pissed. I want to beat that, make it sound like I pissed myself, but I'm wearing corduroy, so it's okay.
Is that a thing?
That's Zach Fox.
I was gonna say that's like a Zach Fox type sounding fucking thing.
Let me grab a fucking drink while I'm at it. Alright, so we're going to play a game called Brockhampton. Who Did It? Who Done It?
Who done it? Clue. Brockhampton.
So one feature about Brockhampton is that, at least for the Saturation trilogy, the song titles are usually kind of just random words that sometimes have something to do with the song, sometimes don't.
Yeah.
And there are many members to Brockhampton and many verses that probably are going to be forgotten. We're going to see today who's the biggest BH fan by playing a game involving
This is for all the marbles.
Brockhampton lyrics.
That's how we said it.
This is how it will work. One person will read out a Brockhampton lyric. The other two will have an opportunity to buzz in if they know who said it and on which song. If they get both of those correct, it's 1 point. If they get only one correct, the other person gets the opportunity to steal a point, and we will keep going until somebody gets a point.
You can use albums for hints as well. If it's a really hard one and people are struggling.
Yeah, if somebody say guess the wrong song, but it is on that same album, maybe
it's up to the person, to whoever's hosting that one round, to give out that information if they think it's need be.
Yeah.
We're gonna start with an easy round, probably
We each
just
have 3,
just to get us all some points, maybe.
Yeah.
And we will slowly get to our harder ones as we go.
All right, Alex, do you want to start it off to show us how it works? We have these buzzers here. We have to choose who gets which. In pure Brockhampton do-it-yourself fashion, we have all these kind of homemade makeshift instruments here.
I'll take the shaker.
Josh wants the shaker. I kind of want the bongo. Alex, you want the clapper?
Okay.
Might be fucking loud as hell, but here we are. So then, for me and Josh have to have our instruments ready to go, but
Yep.
can't we have? So whoever comes in first with it, and we'll have the score somewhere on the screen that.
Okay.
Audience will be able to
Another
see.
rule is like, when we're reading off these lyrics, like don't say it in the flow, in the exact
Yes.
flow or whatever.
Yeah, that might give it away.
Yeah.
And if we have repeats of lyrics, that's probably impossible because there's so much music. But I think Alex has some backup ones, and we can probably put up and just do some random shit if we have to. But
Okay, so I'm gonna start reading this quote,
Alright,
and
you have
at
it
any whenever you think you got it,
okay,
Ring
so we
in.
have to guess the person who said it and the
I
song.
get into it.
like I'm saying,
too
you don't have to wait till I'm finished the quote
Okay.
if you get it really quick, because we're going easy mode first anyway.
Yeah.
I feel just like Zayn. I feel just like Harry.
That's a mirror on Star, right?
You got the right rapper, but the wrong song.
Oh fuck. Okay, Josh can steal it then.
Oh, it's Amir on Boys.
Yes.
Boys, that's such a oh man. That's
Hella boys think. Hella
That's
boys
a-
think. Hella boy. I feel just like Zayn. I feel just
man.
like Harry.
Yeah, I got Zayn and Harry.
I cop it.
and I was like, oh, he's mentioning these fucking stars.
I'm sitting
Okay.
on Pirellis.
Josh gets a point.
Southside One Direction.
Semi-assisted by me. But
All right, so
anyway.
Josh is on
No,
the
I knew
board.
it was Amir too.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was a great song. I love that.
Does one of us have a pen or something? I'm just gonna keep track
yeah,
of
yeah.
points.
Okay. I guess I will go if we're doing clockwise here.
Okay, so I need to hold on.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right. The easier round here. Used to want a briefcase and a short commute. Used to want to sell coke.
And whip an Audi coupe. That is Merlin Wood on Milk.
Yes, that's correct.
Woo!
Josh, did you have it that
Saturation
quickly?
one.
Or
I did, but I'm like.
would you have
I
gotten the
panicked.
song?
I panicked.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
panicked.
So Alex got
All right.
one. I'm not on the
I'm
board
on the
yet.
board.
Okay. Okay. Y'all
All
good?
right, we have to get our shit.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I speak in tongues and I arrive without a damn mention. It's kind of sick, and I was born in 1996.
Kevin Abstract for sure. Oh fuck! I buzzed in too early.
All right, you have 5, 4, 3, 2.
1997
One.
Truman. It's not fucking. That's probably not even the song.
No.
It's Kevin Abstract on Junkie,
Correct.
Junkie. Fuck, man.
because that's the song where he starts
Yes.
off like.
Yeah, 1999, the only
I,
year that
I
I
knew it too, man.
Gay.
Fuck.
Yeah. I had a weird dream that I sent that the music video for Junkie to one of my friends, to my friends in PEI, and when I woke up from that dream, I did just that, and I'm like, I know this is out of the blue, but I gotta send you this because the dream told me to. They're like, thanks, I actually really like it.
Okay, so it's my go.
No, it's my turn.
Oh, it's yours.
Yeah. Oh, right. Fuck.
All right, you guys ready?
Okay.
This is medium difficulty
Medium
round.
difficulty,
It's currently 2-1 for Alex versus Josh. Andrew's not on the board. I'm a shithead son, and I'm bad at growing up.
It's Joba on. Is it Johnny?
Yes.
Oh man, I was like Johnny or fucking Alaska, or it could have been. There was a few other ones that I had.
That's a good one.
Something
That's a
off
tough
the
one because
Yeah.
I was even when I
I'm a shithead.
heard that one, I thought it was like Liquid or like
Yeah, there was a few that it could have been. for
Zipper
me.
or like, but it was off that album. It's
Yeah.
it's like the 3rd or 4th track off. Of
Yeah,
it.
Johnny. Okay, sick. I'm on the board.
All right, good job on that one.
All right. Medium difficulty for me. Everyone ready? Not seen like a dodo. I skip fall, stay snow globe. Stuck inside the corridor, make me go so loco. Major league, I'm Sheen, call me Wild Thing. She got strings up on her neck like a violin.
It was Matt Champion on St. Percy.
Yes.
Ah,
Because I did that specifically because I remember that string like a violin bar, but I didn't really recognize the earlier shit. So I was trying to see if any of y'all could get the earlier shit somehow.
Yeah.
But then I knew that bar was a little bit of a giveaway.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the all-time Matt sex bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like, wait,
Strings
what?
upon it's like a violin. And also that one's very conducive to like the flow and his voice. So like just saying the bars out, I thought was like, a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So who got the point there?
I did.
Josh got that.
Okay. So
Is it 2-2-1?
2-2-1.
All right.
Okay.
All right. My attention to detail is on scale with classic impressionists. So the lesson is that prerequisites are irrelevant to my standards. It's a deficit in your settlement. You better learn to mind all your manners.
Well, I know exactly who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
But
which song is it?
really...
Ooh.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. It's Dom. Is it on Zipper?
No.
Fuck. Because I recognize the kind of the flow, relevant to my standards. Like I know how that kind of goes, but man, Alex has a chance. Or does Josh get a point if he stumps us, or is that?
I remember. I can
Maybe.
give you a hint. I can give you a hint.
I already
So
used
was
mine.
that the wrong album or the right album at least?
That's the wrong album.
Okay.
So not on Saturation 3.
Not to mind your manners.
We'll just keep going until somebody gets it.
Okay.
It's wait. This is Dom off of Boy Bye, right?
Close. It's the right album.
So now is it just whoever gets it first?
I guess so.
So it's Dom off of St. Percy.
It's not. It's off the album, but no, it's not that one.
I guess it's sort of the ball's sort of in your court then. Isn't that from Boy Bye?
No, it's off one of the singles off of Ginger, but it's not that one.
Oh, is it I've Been Born Again?
No.
Right.
I was gonna actually do.
Alright, you go
I
ahead.
was actually
I don't
gonna do
know,
his
man.
verse from that one, but it's
That's up to
it's
you.
it's one of the weird titled ones.
He's giving us all the clues here. Ball's in your court. I just took another
Can
guess.
I look at the track list now? That's just giving it away too much.
Sure.
That's understand. Love Me for Life.
No.
No.
God damn it.
Is this just a stump? Is this just a no pointer? I mean,
I'm thinking maybe 0. I'm thinking, should Josh get a point for this?
I don't know.
Oh.
I thought this was I've Been Born Again.
No. I've Been Born Again was.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so that song isn't St. Percy?
No, St. Percy's like a posse cut.
This is St.
St.
Percy.
Percy.
Oh, fuck. How does it go again? It's
So this is the song that this lyric
This
is
is
on.
this is the one.
Man,
Holy Father.
this is some ginger.
We're just listening to
shit.
this song.
Yeah,
now.
no, we can't get it. That should be an L. We don't know this fucking song. We don't know the name of it.
Is the song called Big Boy or something? Or some other boy related?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm just looking at it
This
now.
is such an icon.
That's 0 points for us.
This is one of my favorites.
If You Pray Right?
If You Pray
Oh,
Right.
I completely
God.
forgot the name of that fucking title.
Oh.
If You Pray Right is one of
All
my
right.
favorite off the album.
All right, that should
Okay.
be, that
So
should be
good.
no points because he gave us everything. for
Should
that.
Josh get the point or just no points? I don't
That
want to make him like win the game or anything, but I mean that was a pretty good.
was a pretty tough one.
Yeah, that was like that. I love that song so much. It's a great one.
I figured
But-
let's just give him a point. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
because we might stump each other with the last round.
Yeah,
here.
we need a tiebreaker
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done the medium, the easy and the
Yeah.
medium. So this is hard mode.
Okay.
Always throwing curve like a reaper scythe, gnawing on my wood like a termite.
Matt Champion on District.
Whoa!
Whoa, yeah, you're an Essence fanboy coming out
That's
here.
what I'm saying. I'm a Essence apologist.
I would not have got that. I could have guessed Matt Champion, but I don't know if I would have gotten that area.
See, I thought that was just like one of those lyrics that I never
Paid much mind to.
no, I never like intelligized or whatever. I never the lyrics never
never like really
came into my brain.
Yeah, sunk in.
Because it was just a lot of times Matt Champion lyrics are just a little slurry mouthed and you can't really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's a pretty I knew the gnawing on my wood like a termite.
Yeah, that's like Matt Champion-esque for sure. But
that's song, something he would say. Yeah,
and I could have maybe narrowed it down to Iridescence, but like I probably would have thought it's like some.
But then after that, he says entering the world like a parasite, and then it's like, and then it kind of Joba jumps in. Yeah,
I'm still depressed.
Yeah, right, okay.
Honestly, the more we talk about that song, the more I think maybe Iridescence. Maybe you have a point with Iridescence.
No, it's got some great ones for sure.
Defendable project.
Okay, so my last one here.
Wait, so Josh got... Oh, yeah, so he's up 4-2 and 1 now, so we have to basically...
I'm finally winning something. God damn it.
Just pick me up in the 4-door. I'll bless the beat with smoke and rain ash like Mordor. The warlord's coming, check the lamp for the slaughter. The envy so green it should be flying a saucer.
Oh you got it.
Okay, it's Bareface. Damn it. The song is, Windows.
Yes.
From Roadrunner.
Yes. As a not a big Roadrunner fan, that's surprising.
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
I'm in the game.
Yeah.
I thought the Mordor bar, because I remember that one, so I'm like, that one might be a little bit giving it away.
Yeah.
The song would be
right off. I knew it was Bareface, but when he actually raps, it's like he raps on like maybe 2 songs.
Yeah, exactly.
In all of Brockhampton's history, and that was the one.
Yeah, he rapped a lot on Iridescence, I thought,
and on Say Percy on.
But they were kind of like hidden verses.
Yeah, they're not really
at the end of songs, and
that's why I thought it would be a little bit more difficult. Yeah. Okay, so Josh,
that's a good tough one though.
I'm still. I gotta. I mean, there's no way I'm gonna win, but I should try to get another pity point.
You can at least steal a point from me.
Yeah. I'm alive. The bag's in my ride. Baby, when the karma gets you, yeah, maybe you can run away with us.
That's Bareface on. That's also District, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also District. That's crazy because like I was silently freaking out because like first of all Alex picks for the final round. Alex picked District and then you picked a Bareface first. Yeah. And then mine was Bareface on District. Yeah. That's crazy.
Okay.
Because District is the most random Brockhampton song that you could ever pick.
But it's also one of their best. It's like a crazy fucking...
It's one of their... Yeah, it's one of the hardest things I've ever made.
Like, if you picked...
Because why is it called District, you know?
If someone did, like, Vivid or Honey, I would have had no fucking clue what the fuck. Yeah. Like,
those songs are almost too much singing to even be good for this game because it's not lyrical enough, you know? But, Fuck, that was a pretty good game.
One. Yeah, so Josh wins it, and me and you, and then you got.
I had 3 points.
I got 2 points.
You had 1.
I won the last one, so I had 2.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
So yeah, Josh is the biggest Brockhampton fan here.
I don't know if that's a good thing now.
As we all suspected, honestly, that's what I expected at the very least.
Do you want me to do the rest of mine?
Sure.
Yeah, just for no points. Fuck it.
Just for the goofs.
Okay.
And the gaffs.
This is my other extra hard mode, but it's probably pretty easy. Sensitive, abrasive, stab you in the face.
Oh, it's Joba.
I don't remember that hook. I don't even recognize the melody.
Keep a blade. Heaven's sakes. Had to raise the stakes.
That's not even ringing a bell, man. Is that some ginger shit? I don't even know.
It's from Love Me for Life.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, some ginger shit.
Yeah.
I just don't like the taste of ginger. Maybe that's why I'm hesitant to...
Ginger ale?
I guess. But like, if there's like a ginger fucking like gummy or whatever, I'm like, I'd rather not.
Gingerbread? Oh, actually,
I don't even like gingerbread that much.
Yo, while we're complaining about shit, the booster juice gingerbread thing I had, it was disgusting.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
Honestly, it's more of an L on me just for even thinking that.
Why did you think that would be good?
Sounds like a mistake in the first place. Alright, do you have one more?
Well, I have one more easy one.
Okay.
First off, fuck Dolce and Gabbana.
Merlin on... Fuck. Oh, that's Queer?
Yeah.
I did not recognize that one.
I'll always remember the song Queer because it was my ringtone for a while.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Not in a sus way, but because of the beginning part with that it would always be like caused me to really answer my phone quickly.
Yeah.
And then the only part that you would hear is Matt go, skinny boy, where your muscles at? So like, so one time that one came on while I was in the train, and it was just very funny for like.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good segment. What are our worst rap songs we've used for ringtones?
Yeah.
Go through
Yeah,
this.
I mean, Amazing by Kanye West.
It's not a rap thing, but I had my to the same effect of like alerting yourself. Like it was the alert tone from Metal Gear Solid that would make me like pick up my phone real quick. It's like ding. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because it makes you like startled.
All right, we're at like fucking probably over 2 hours here.
Yeah.
2:02.
2 hours 2 minutes.
We can go through some new music quick. There isn't too much to talk about.
It's our Christmas episode, so it'll be the last one of the year.
Yeah, before the big series finale or season finale of the year. Big year-end list.
2022 was a big year for music.
I'm hard at work on it. I listened to more albums this year than maybe any other year. Like there was a lot that I
Your entire life
gave a chance to. Well, in terms of just like things that dropped in a year, right?
Yeah. Crazy how we've been doing the podcast for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So that means this will be our third year-end episode, even though we haven't been doing it for 3. But this will be the third like year-end list that I've made. But you've been making.
I've been making them since 2017. Yeah. But not in nearly as much depth or as much thought going into it as I do now.
But now that we've done this 3 times, or now that we're doing this the third time. I think we're going to be a little bit. We know what we're getting into a little bit more.
And hopefully it won't be as long. We'll have, we'll say what we want to say about each album, but we don't have to necessarily...
we don't have to re-review everything,
yes,
but just kind of explain why we think it deserves a spot in the top 10.
Exactly.
And certain things, like we didn't get the chance to review in as much detail the first time around. So we're trying to
some other projects
have our final word on a lot of things. So that will be fun. Stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, it'll be a 2-parter episode. That's for sure. So some new music here.
Main shit I want to talk about is not Brockhampton.
Let's do Brockhampton again, boys.
Here we go. A third album. Yeah. This one is just the sound of Matt Champion having sex.
Oh man,
his cheeks clapping.
Thought it was cringe, kind of mid.
I thought it was very good. Their best work.
Just the raw emotion.
Yeah.
I thought there's something to be said for it, but yeah.
Metro Boomin. He wants some more, and he got some more.
Well, we got some more.
Yeah, we did.
Buddy.
But we got some more mid. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
There are a few highlights here.
That's the one that's straight up off a rip-off of Pink Floyd.
The album cover,
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Heroes and Villains.
Yeah. I think the cover's hard. Like, it's obviously a clear...
It's clearly a rip-off to Pink Floyd, but they rip it off because it's good.
Yeah, it's well made.
I would say Metro Boomin is good for a few listens with a couple standouts.
Yes.
I like the big drama themes, the production.
Yeah.
It's enough of an idea of, like, heroism and doing kind of Marvel movie type stuff with... mixing the rap world in, and the short film they put out was pretty fucking cool. It was kind of just basically a Batman thing, like Keith Stanfield sort of playing a Joker type character.
Yeah, that was cool. And the intro sets it up well in terms of
the intro. It's a lot of bells and whistles for then a pretty boring Future song with a tacked on Chris Brown thing at the end, which sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I thought. Chris Brown is... I
thought the Future part was, okay, but, I'm not a big Future guy, so I don't know if I'm going to really be going back to it much, but the Chris Brown part was definitely... He's the villain, right? Everyone else are heroes. Young Thug is kind of a villain because he's in prison, and then Chris Brown
But he's kind of a hero because he has one of the best songs off of this.
Metro Spider is fantastic.
He's an anti-hero.
So, one of the interesting things from this album was that this is the first that we've seen of Travis Scott on 3 or 4 songs.
Since the Astroworld incident.
On the last podcast, I was really making fun of Travis Scott and thinking that the next album is going to be really terrible.
Yes.
And I'm still holding on to those chips a little bit, but he gave me at least a couple of flashes of the Travis Scott that I like, where he puts a little bit more energy into it, and there's a little bit more...
I don't know.
But at the beginning, the the album doesn't really kick in for me until like the Metro Spider track, and then it's pretty deep. There's some good ones.
I'm just remembering because you mentioned the Batman thing. Like the short film's kind of like Batman. I'm just remembering Travis Scott dressed up as Batman for that one meme that one year.
Yeah.
And I'm just like imagining him playing his meme picture playing the main character.
I think Travis. I mean, I really only enjoy Niagara Falls as like the one Travis heavy song that I'm like, okay, this is like good melody. It's at least interesting enough to hold my attention. But Trance and Raindrops and like they're just really, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty boring.
Yeah.
I actually thought Trance was okay because Young Thug kind of
saves it, but it's just
kind of saved it.
I like Umbrella with 21 Savage and Young Nudie. I thought that was a good one. Classic fucking horror type fucking Metro Boomin type beat there. That's like the first one on the album. That's like, okay, that one's like pretty good.
I thought the Don Toliver songs were pretty boring.
Me too. I pretty much took those off my phone immediately. I'm like,
did you see the thing recently about a bunch of artists connected to like United or whatever, one of the main labels, were revealed to have a lot of fake streams and fake comments and
Don
stuff
Toliver
like that. Don Toliver, Lil Uzi Vert, and Roddy Ricch were the three like main ones named in that whole controversy. But
to me, that's not surprising whatsoever.
Uzi at least has genuine fan base.
Uzi think. Sells pretty well, so that comes as a little bit of a surprise. But Don Toliver and who's the other one you mentioned?
Roddy Ricch. I don't think they're really like that developed artists. That kind of like they got a little too overexposed and
really haven't had much of a hit in a while. It seems the label's trying to kick them back.
And like because they were kind of out there on like everybody's album for like a good period, and then it was kind of feel like, well, that's kind of it for them, and so
what do you think of this Creepin' song with Weeknd and 21 Savage?
I like it.
I think it's solid.
Like I find that from Metro Spider on, like the album has a good flow to it.
Yeah.
And like even the Can't Save You song with like Future, like it's kind of a dumb song, but it's a little interlude that kind of keeps the energy flowing. Going into the weekends kind of adds a bit of a different more poppy appeal to it. Niagara Falls, first good Travis Scott song I've heard in a long time.
Welcome Down, 21 Savage and Mustafa has a whole like back half, which is pretty surprising to me. A lot of people didn't like it. I guess they're not really fans of his music. They're just like, man, it's a weak, takes all the energy out of it. I mean, it could have been maybe its own song, but I think together.
No, Walk 'Em Down was great.
Yeah, I think that was really like it.
Metro Boomin production at its highest.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of, when you listen to the beat, there's just a lot of variation to it. It's not like a
production wise, there's not really an issue I'm having here. Like it's weird because
it's a producer album, so like obviously
and like it has very similar like it all sounds like it's produced by Metro Boomin, obviously, but it has enough variation where it's not like boring as fuck, where it just all kind of sounds like the same 21 Savage type beat, like there's still enough.
No, like you couldn't get this just from looking for Metro Boomin type beats on YouTube. You couldn't find something that's this like.
Yeah, it's well done.
But really, it's only a handful that have that level of polish and
yes.
The first half of it is kind of a slog to get through. And I thought that Mustafa's part was an interesting juxtaposing those two ideas, and I really liked his. I just love how he's getting more out there now, like same. Guy from the Toronto scene.
Especially because this album, my main issue with the album is that, like, especially comparing it to his last one, Not All Heroes Wear Capes, which I don't know if I've ever heard in full, but I've heard like a bunch of songs from it.
A couple ones. There's 21 Savage song called.
There's a few that I do enjoy. There's a Kodak one I like.
There's some good ones off of that one for sure. And I like the song Space Cadet, which was off of that one, which is the original Gunna hit that kind of got him in the...
Right. But my biggest issue with Metro Boomin shit is that he pretty much just taps the same guys. Thug, 21, Travis. Like, it would have been really cool
Future.
to see some different names on here, especially because how big he's gotten.
I like the incorporation of A$AP Rocky.
That being said, A$AP Rocky and Takeoff on Feel the Fire is another great song.
That was a moment.
Fantastic. Great production. Takeoff, first posthumous verse, I think he killed it. He had a whole alphabet rhyme scheme where he did a bunch of letters from the alphabet. I thought it was pretty well done.
But yeah, that's
it kind of leaves in a fucking fart with Gunna on the bonus track. It was just super bland, and I don't really like it one bit.
It's a bonus, whatever.
But yeah, it's a bonus, so I don't really feel.
But yeah, I feel like we kind of skimmed over Metro Spider. Like part of what's so great about it is it has a very dramatic thing from start to finish, and when he gets into this flow. It's just a very infectious flow.
Like at the start, he doesn't quite have it, where it's like it starts off a little bit offbeat or something, or it's just, I don't know for what reason, and then once he finds the pocket though, it's like, oh yeah, it's fucking
and then he's saying in the chorus kind of Metro, and then doing that rhyme, and then saying Spider, 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 and then keeping the thing going like that. You know, it's in a weird way like Young Thug, like. You know, he's been the biggest advertiser of Metro Boomin to the whole world because he's the guy who says the Metro Boomin wants some more.
You could argue,
tag.
You could argue 21 though, because the whole Savage Mode 1 and 2, Savage Mode 1 was probably the biggest catalyst for both of their careers. You could make that argument at least, but
true. I'm thinking mainly just in the sense that his producer tags are Young Thug's voice.
Future has the if Metro don't trust you.
Yeah, and Future as well. Yeah, I guess that's another. Like he is very respected and influential in the game. Yeah. That being said, I don't know if you can say this album is just like knock out the park or anything.
No, I think overall it's kind of mid. Just like there's 4 or 5 tracks that I come out with this. I'm like, okay, these are very good, but a lot of it's kind of boring.
The standouts stand out, but it's not like feels more like a compilation album.
I agree. A few other things to get out of the way here. Alchemist, Wiki, and Mike dropped a 3-song EP collab with Tommy Hilfiger. But kind of a weird collab, but I think it's hard. All 3 songs go off. They all kill it.
Tommy Hills.
Yeah, we are getting paid to say that. So check that out and purchase Tommy Hilfiger at your local outlet mall today.
I don't even know. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a fashion clothing.
Speaking of, what if it was like a guy doing like a money phone bit, but it's like he's receiving tragic news. What? How many bodies?
Yeah.
And they're just on the street? Why are you talking to me on my money phone?
They just hit the Pentagon.
What? A second plane. A second tower has hit the plane. What?
Oh, I was about to say, a second tower has hit Brockhampton.
Man. Money phones are becoming too problematic in this day and age, guys. Put down the money phones. Jesus.
Oh, shit. That's so funny.
How about 6 more albums? And you also suck my dick.
21 Savage Nas. Did you hear the song? We're almost done, I promise you.
No.
It's called One More Chance or some shit, or one gun, one something.
No, but
it was just interesting to see because they had a little bit of a beef of 21 Savage being like Nas isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah, the big ups to 21 Savage for responding to internet rap head criticism in a way that I think was actually smart. Yeah, which is saying, hey, like I'd said something that maybe got taken out of context, and I actually do really respect the greats. Yeah. And I want to still work with them. But he is the whole point was like he's just not as relevant as he once was, kind of thing, is what he was pretty much trying to say. He was just taken out of context. Yeah, but he's not selling as many records, obviously, as he was. I think we've been through this before with the whole Post Malone controversy over him saying he doesn't like rap, or that other people, Lil Xan saying he doesn't like Tupac, or that was Yachty. Yachty I think also said something similar. Where he's like, I don't like Tupac or Biggie or some shit. Which I think the point is that, like, the internet commenters do have a point to say that, hey man, hip-hop is something that's bigger than you, and just because you don't think it's relevant or whatever, like, fuck you. Like, this shit still has meaning to people. Yeah, and the fact that you're a rapper who has a big platform, like, you should at least... You think you're so big just because you're famous right now, but hip-hop is something way bigger than you that's been going on for fucking years. So at least respect the fucking craft. It's like, the people like, as much as, like, I agree that internet commenters and whatever are annoying crowds and stuff, like, I do think that you have to respect the craft. And 21 Savage did a smart thing by not alienating himself from the old heads.
Yeah, and the fact that the two of them came together for a track right after is pretty substantial. I think it's a solid song. Yeah. Not much really to say about it. I think I've only heard it like once or twice.
Especially because,
check it out if you want to.
Especially because rap has only been around for a couple decades now. A lot of the original pioneers are still alive, so you gotta pay them respects while they're still here. You know what I mean?
For sure.
As much as I like the rock star attitude, when people get into I don't even respect this art form type shit. I go, okay,
that's
man,
just that.
Maybe
maybe walk that back.
You're not actually the fucking the shit. Like you're just
not
some
the fucking pope, bro.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
Yeah. Do you do ASAP Rocky song "Shitting Me"? What are you shitting me? Are you kidding me? For the
that's one of those. I want to put my head to the money phone. I thought it was sick. Like I love his energy. I love
crazy. Did you see the music video? It's fucking nuts. Where the whole AI, they create a whole AI robot fucking thing because they do a whole weekend that Bernie's fucking shtick. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they're also doing kind of a whole joke on him falling into the crowd and then getting like
the whole that meme
stuffing,
that came out
stuck up his asshole or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what even happened to him in that picture? Someone is stuck up.
I don't think it was just a funny picture. It was just he got like the whole thing, like he got violated or whatever. I think it's mainly just a meme.
I just like his face in that picture made him look like he was being entered. But he made like a joke about it, and that was that
was pretty clever.
I love it. I love ASAP Rocky, and ASAP Rocky was all over this Metro Boomin album as well. Like,
doing just voices and little
doing sort of a narration, adding to
he's got to drop it.
Morgan Freeman's
he's dropping
narration as well, but they added that
because he had a whole like Amazon thing is doing this like a music series with Twitch or whatever. They have like an artist come out and do whole concerts or whatever. And A$AP Rocky did one. And he performed like a bunch of new music. He says the album's like been done type shit. Like it's coming like probably first quarter next year. So look forward to that. He has a song with Smino that he performed. Seems super fucking hard. So.
Sick, man. Keep it coming.
Very excited for Rocky dropping. Speak of the fucking devil, in terms of last week, I remember, I don't know if it was on pod even, but you mentioned that, what happened to 100 Gex? They haven't been doing much. They dropped an EP, 3 songs, 1 song with Skrillex called Torture Me. It's a little bit all over the fucking place.
That sounds like 100 Gex.
Yeah, but it's, I listen to it, I mean, it's fun. It's 100 Gex. It's, but, not necessarily the sound that we're itching for, but they're here. They're still kicking it, making interesting, fun music.
Sort of dominatrix type music.
Yes, that's definitely the vibe I'm getting from their fans as well. I'll say.
I mean, I've heard of Crucify Me, but this is just ridiculous.
Last but not least, Lucky Day.
I have a fetish for getting crucified.
Oh God!
Let's not even go into this territory because
I'm trying to get us out of it.
Respect Christianity
with
too
a
much.
Pure lover here. Lucky Day dropped a deluxe for Candy Drip. Great album dropped this year. Just 3 new tracks, and he dropped the version of NWA without Lil Durk. Pretty unnecessary, in my opinion. 3 new tracks. They're all bangers. They all hit for me. They're all kind of a little bit more dancey kind of thing, but I really like those kind of tracks as well. I like the feels like kind of track. So shout out Lucky Day for that. Check it out if you want to.
Sick, man.
We'll get to SZA probably in the new year, honestly. I don't know if we'll do SZA or Absol. I don't know if we'll have time to include those guys in our end of the year lists, depending on how quickly we can digest those. I really would like to include Absol because I think I'm really excited for his drop, but we'll at least talk about them in more detail at the top of the year. If we have something to say at the very least. I did listen to the SZA record once, and I do enjoy it pretty thoroughly. But,
that's all the new music.
That's all she wrote.
Did you actually have anything to say about the Alchemist Wiki mic thing?
It's good. I don't know. I listened to it maybe once or twice.
Okay,
it's
cool.
solid. Listen to it if you're into that sound.
All right, we're going to go work on our top 10 lists. So
stay tuned. Stay hard. Stay
frosty.
Yeah. And give us more money.
Yeah, bitch.
Breaking Bad like I'm chilling with Walter White. Black don't crack, but my bias think that it's tight. Isn't it a sight? I used to sell crack, now I'm dressed in off-white.